A beautiful sanitation worker was collecting trash in front of a mansion without noticing the millionaire standing there, and Ashley Johnson paused mid-motion when she felt eyes fixed on her. There was something different about that Thursday morning in the Upper East Side neighborhood of New York City. Normally, the elegant streets remained empty during her collection route, but this time, a strange feeling had followed her since she arrived on Magnolia Avenue. The mental timer in her head told her she was running late. Her supervisor, Kevin Richardson, had made it clear during Monday's meeting that he wouldn't tolerate any more delays. The 2 previous warnings weighed on her record, and a third would mean losing her job at the urban cleaning company, where she'd worked for 3 years. Ashley quickened her pace toward the trash bins of mansion number 847, an imposing structure with perfectly trimmed hedges and a garage where 2 luxury German cars gleamed. Her hands trembled slightly as she lifted the first garbage bag. It wasn't nerves from the presence she sensed behind her, but the constant worry that had haunted her since discovering the debt left by her father. Ryan Thompson watched every move the young worker made through the tempered glass window of his second-floor office. He'd first noticed her presence 3 weeks ago when he returned from a business trip to London. Since then, he'd discreetly adjusted his morning routine to coincide with the cleaning crew's route. Ashley's schedule was as precise as a Swiss watch. She always arrived at 7:15 a.m., starting at house number 823 and following a sequence that brought her to his property by 7:35. Ryan had discovered this pattern because he'd begun timing her, a quiet obsession he couldn't explain. That particular morning, something was different. Ashley seemed agitated, her movements less fluid than usual. Ryan adjusted his tie in the hallway mirror and decided it was time to go down to the garage to fetch the newspaper, a task he usually left to his driver. Ashley carried the second trash bag to the truck, where her co-worker, Frank, waited impatiently. The 50-year-old man's expression was one of restrained irritation. "Hurry up, girl. Kevin's already called twice asking where we are." "I'm almost done, Frank. Just the house on the corner left." "What's with all the rush? You've been like this since Monday." Ashley didn't answer. How could she explain that she needed to keep this job at all costs? How could she admit that the bank's demands grew worse each day, that the threats to seize the home she shared with her mother were becoming more frequent? As she walked back to collect the last bags, Ashley didn't notice Ryan Thompson had stepped out of the mansion and was now watching her work from just 10 meters away. The businessman pretended to check the mail at the automated gate, but his eyes followed her every move. It was when Ashley bent down to pick up a torn bag, its contents spilling onto the ground, that Ryan made a decision that would change both their lives. He strode toward her with purpose. "Let me help," he said, crouching to gather the scattered papers. Ashley looked up, startled. For the first time, she saw the face of the man who lived in that grand home. Brown hair slicked back with gel, piercing blue eyes, and a smile that seemed rehearsed yet carried genuine kindness. "You don't have to, sir. It's my job." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us newcomers out. Now continuing. "I insist. Besides, it was my fault. You should have tied the bag better." Ryan reached out to help her up. For a moment, when their skin touched, Ashley felt an electric current run down her arm. It was a sensation she hadn't experienced since her school days, when she'd fallen for her history teacher. "I'm Ryan Thompson," he said, not immediately letting go of her hand. "Ashley Johnson," she replied, quickly pulling her hand back, when she noticed Frank watching them disapprovingly from the truck. "Ashley is a beautiful name. It means she who is present in sacrifice, right?" The remark surprised Ashley. Few people knew the meaning of her name, and the irony of the situation wasn't lost on her. She truly was present in her own daily sacrifice. "I need to go. We're running late." "Of course, sorry to have bothered you." Ryan took a few steps back, but continued watching as Ashley finished cleaning the last bits of paper from the ground. When she walked back to the truck, he noticed how she avoided looking directly at him, as if afraid of something. Inside the trucker, Frank wasted no time sharing his thoughts. "What was that about, girl? Since when do bosses chat with sanitation workers?" "He was just being polite, Frank." polite or after something else? These rich folks think they can do whatever they want. Frank's words echoed in Ashley's mind for the rest of the morning. Could it be true? Did Ryan have some hidden motive? The suspicion planted by her co-worker mixed with the strange sense of comfort the conversation had given her. Ryan, meanwhile, lingered at the gate long after the garbage truck disappeared around the corner. There was something about the way Ashley spoke, the dignity with which she carried herself in her work uniform, that deeply intrigued him. At 38, Ryan Thompson owned one of the country's largest tech companies. He'd inherited the business from his father at 25 and had since multiplied the family fortune tenfold. He was used to getting whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted. Women were never in short supply in his life. Models, executives, socialites, all eager to be with one of New York City's most eligible bachelors. But there was something different about Ashley Johnson. Maybe it was the lack of interest she'd shown, or the genuine way she'd reacted to his approach. That afternoon in his downtown office, Ryan found himself thinking about the sanitation worker at the most inconvenient times. During the meeting with his company's directors as they discussed acquiring a startup in Chicago, his mind wandered to Ashley's brown eyes. "Ryan, are you listening?" asked Jennifer Parker, his business partner and CFO. "Sorry, Jennifer, can you repeat that?" Jennifer was a 42-year-old woman, highly capable, who had harbored unrequited feelings for Ryan for over 5 years. She immediately noticed his distraction, something rare in their work meetings. "We were discussing the budget for expansion. You seem distant today." "I'm fine, just thinking about some personal matters." The meeting ended with decisions, postponed until the next day. Jennifer stayed behind after the other executives left. "Ryan, can we talk?" "Sure, what is it?" "You've been different these past few weeks. Did something happen?" Ryan considered telling her about Ashley, but something made him hesitate. How could he explain his interest in a city sanitation worker? How could he justify not being able to get her out of his head? "It's just some family stuff, Jennifer. Nothing that'll affect work." Jennifer knew Ryan well enough to sense he was hiding something, but she decided not to press him, at least not right then. Meanwhile, Ashley arrived home in the Queens neighborhood after 2 hours on public transportation. The modest 2-bedroom house she shared with her mother stood in stark contrast to the mansion she cleaned during her shifts. Barbara Johnson was in the kitchen preparing lunch when she heard her daughter come in. At 58, Barbara worked as a cleaner in 3 different homes to supplement the family income. Her calloused hands told the story of a lifetime devoted to hard work. "How was work today, honey?" "Same as usual, Mum. Nothing special." Ashley chose not to mention running into Ryan. Her mother already worried enough about the family's financial struggles. She didn't need to know her daughter was having confusing thoughts about a man completely out of her league. "A letter from the bank came today," Barbara said, her voice heavy with concern. Ashley's stomach tightened. She knew it couldn't be good news. What did it say? 15 more days to pay the debt, or they'll start foreclosure proceedings. 15 days. Ashley did the math in her head. Even working 2 jobs, mornings in waste collection and afternoons cleaning offices, she wouldn't be able to scrape together the $8,000 needed to settle the debt left by her father. Robert Johnson had passed away 2 years earlier from a heart attack. He'd left behind a small bank debt that had snowballed with interest and penalties. What had started as $3,000 had become an impossible sum for 2 women earning minimum wage. "We'll figure it out, Mum, we always do." But this time Ashley didn't know how. She'd already tried renegotiating the debt 3 times. The bank manager, Derek Foster, had been firm in their last conversation. Either they paid in full or they'd lose the house. That night, Ashley lay in bed thinking about Ryan Thompson. It was a dangerous fantasy, she knew. Men like him didn't get involved with women like her. They belonged to different worlds, separated by an unbridgeable social divide. But the memory of his touch, the genuine kindness in his eyes, lingered in her mind, like a soft melody. For a few minutes, she let herself imagine what it would be like if circumstances were different. The next morning, Ryan was at his gate at exactly 7:35. He pretended to fiddle with his phone while waiting for the garbage truck. When he heard the familiar rumble of the approaching vehicle, his heart raced in a way he hadn't felt since adolescence. Ashley stepped off the truck with more composure than the day before. She'd mentally rehearsed how she'd act if she saw Ryan again. A polite greeting, then straight to work. Nothing more. But when their eyes met, all her rehearsals vanished. Ryan smiled and gave a discreet wave. Ashley felt her cheeks flush and quickly looked away. "Good morning, Ashley." "Good morning, Mr. Thompson." "Please, just call me Ryan." Frank watched the scene from the truck with growing irritation. This exchange was becoming a habit, and he knew it could spell trouble for both of them. "Ashley, let's pick up the pace," he shouted from the vehicle. "Your co-worker seems impatient," Ryan observed. "We're always in a hurry, that's the job." "I understand. Well, I just wanted to... Would you like to get coffee sometime?" The question hit like a bolt from the blue. Ashley felt the world tilt slightly around her. Ryan Thompson was asking her out for coffee? This had to be a dream. "I don't know if that would be appropriate." "Why wouldn't it be?" Ashley glanced around as if searching for an obvious explanation he should understand. The difference between them was striking. He wore a suit that probably cost more than her yearly salary, while she was dressed in a worn-out uniform from the cleaning company. "We're very different," she finally said. "Different how?" "You, Tano." Ryan took a step closer, lowering his voice. "I know you work hard, I know you have dignity, I know there's something special about you that I can't explain. That's what matters to me." Ashley felt a mix of excitement and panic. Part of her wanted to accept the invitation right away. Another part knew it could only end in heartache. "Ashley, now!" shouted Frank, this time with clear anger in his voice. "I have to go. Will you think about what I said?" Ashley nodded quickly before running back to the truck. For the rest of the route, Frank made sharp comments about a cleaner who gets involved with the bosses and a girl who doesn't know her place in the world. His words echoed in Ashley's mind for the rest of the day. Was Frank right? Was she fooling herself into thinking a man like Ryan could genuinely be interested in her? That afternoon, while cleaning the offices of a commercial building downtown, Ashley couldn't focus on her work. She spilled water, twice, and forgot to replace the toilet paper in 3 bathrooms. Dorothy, her supervisor for the evening shift, noticed her odd behavior. "Ashley, are you okay? You seem miles away." "I'm fine, Dorothy, just a little tired." Dorothy was a 62-year-old woman who had worked in cleaning for over 40 years. She had raised 3 children alone and knew the struggles working women faced. She had a soft spot for Ashley, whom she considered like a daughter. "Sit here for a bit. Let's talk." They sat in a small break area in the building. Dorothy poured coffee from a thermos she always carried. "What's going on, dear? I've known you for 2 years and never seen you like this." Ashley hesitated, but Dorothy's kindness encouraged her to open up. "Dorothy, what would you do if a very wealthy man showed interest in you?" "It would depend on the man and his intentions." "How can you tell if his intentions are good?" Dorothy studied the young woman's face carefully. "Is there something you want to tell me?" Ashley shared her encounters with Ryan, the invitation for coffee and the doubts tormenting her. Dorothy listened quietly, occasionally nodding. "My dear, I'll give you some advice I've learned from life. A rich man interested in a poor woman usually wants one thing, but there are exceptions. The question is figuring out which category he falls into." "How?" "Accept the coffee, but meet in public during the day and make your boundaries clear from the start. If he respects them, maybe he's worth getting to know. If not, you'll know right away what kind of man he is." Dorothy's advice brought a clarity Ashley hadn't expected. It was simple and practical, like everything in the older woman's life. That night, Ashley talked to her mother about the family's financial situation. Barbara said she had tried to get an extra job, but her age was proving to be an obstacle. "People prefer hiring younger women, dear. That's the reality." Ashley felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. It was up to her to find a solution to save the family home. She was the one carrying the burden left by her father. The next morning, Friday, Ryan was at the gate again. This time he had brought 2 coffees in a thermos and some sugar bread from the nearest bakery. When Ashley approached to collect the trash, he handed her one of the coffees. "I brought coffee for you, since you can't leave work to have some." The gesture touched Ashley deeply. It was simple, but it showed a consideration she rarely received from others. "Thank you, but I can't accept." "Why not?" "My co-worker will think it's strange, and my supervisor might find out." Ryan looked over at Frank, who was watching them with a frown from the truck. "I understand. Then how about accepting my offer to get coffee outside work hours?" Ashley remembered Dorothy's advice. It was time to test Ryan's true intentions. "All right, but it has to be in a public place during the day, and I can't stay long." "Perfect. How about tomorrow at 3 in the afternoon? I know a really nice bakery in Williamsburg." "I'm not familiar with that area. I can pick you up." "No, let's meet there. Give me the address." Ryan smiled. He liked Ashley's independence, the way she set her own rules. "I'll write it down for you." He took a business card from his pocket and wrote the address on the back. When he handed it to Ashley, their fingers touched again, and both felt the same spark as their first meeting. "See you tomorrow, then." "See you tomorrow." Ashley tucked the card into her uniform pocket, as if it were a treasure. For the first time in a long while, she had something to look forward to beyond bills to pay and problems to solve. In the truck, Frank could no longer hold back. "Ashley, you're playing with fire. That man doesn't want anything serious with you." "How can you be so sure?" "Because I know rich men. I've worked in this neighborhood for 15 years. I've seen this story before. It always ends badly for the woman." "Maybe this time will be different." "It won't, girl. It never is." Frank's words planted seeds of doubt in Ashley's mind, but she decided she needed to find out the truth for herself. For the first time in her life, a man who sparked her interest was showing her attention. She couldn't just ignore that possibility. That afternoon, during her cleaning shift, Ashley told Dorothy about the planned meeting the next day. "You chose well. A public place is always safer. And remember what I told you. Make it clear from the start what kind of woman you are." "What do you mean?" "Talk about your family, your values, your dreams. If he's a good man, he'll respect and be interested in that. If he's just a player, he'll get bored and move on to other tactics." Dorothy lent Ashley a simple but elegant dress to wear for the date. It was navy blue, which brought out her brown eyes, and had only been worn once by Dorothy's daughter at a graduation. "You'll look beautiful, dear. But remember, beauty is just what catches attention. What keeps a man interested is character." Saturday arrived full of anticipation and nerves. Ashley woke up before her alarm and spent more time getting ready than she ever had in her life. Dorothy's dress fit her perfectly, and she was surprised by her own reflection in the mirror. The trip to Williamsburg took nearly 2 hours on public transit. Ashley arrived at the bakery 15 minutes early and decided to wait outside, watching the neighborhood bustle. It was a completely new world to her. People wore expensive clothes, talked about travel and business, drove luxury German cars. Ashley felt out of place, like an intruder in a world she didn't belong to. Ryan arrived right at 3, driving a black BMW. When he saw Ashley waiting on the sidewalk, he was struck by her transformation. The simple, yet well-tailored dress highlighted her natural beauty in a way her work uniforms never could. "You look beautiful," he said as he approached. "Thank you." "The dress is borrowed." Ashley's honesty surprised him. Most women he knew would try to hide that kind of detail. "Honesty suits you." They entered the bakery, a cozy space with wooden furniture and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee. Ryan chose a discreet table at the back of the cafe. "What would you like to drink?" "Just a black coffee, please." "Would you like something to eat? The pastries here are excellent." Ashley hesitated. She was hungry, but she wasn't sure if she should accept. Dorothy had warned her not to feel indebted to him. A sugar bun would be fine. Ryan ordered the items from the waitress and turned his attention back to Ashley. "Tell me about yourself. Besides work, what do you enjoy doing?" "I like to read, when I have time, which isn't often." "What kind of books?" "Romance, mostly. I like stories about people overcoming hardships." "Do you have a favorite author?" Jane Austen. I love how she writes about true love, about people finding happiness, despite social differences. Her answer made Ryan smile. There was a poetic irony in their situation that Ashley seemed to unconsciously understand. Do you relate to her heroines? Sometimes they're strong, hardworking, and don't let circumstances break them. And they always find a happy ending. In books, yes. In real life, it's more complicated. The conversation flowed naturally. Ryan learned that Ashley had well-formed opinions on various topics, that she read online newspapers when she could, and that she dreamed of studying education at a private college. Why education? I like children, and I believe education can change people's lives. If I'd had better study opportunities when I was younger, maybe my life would be different. It's never too late to study. It is when you have to work to support a family. Ryan noticed the melancholy in Ashley's voice and decided to change the subject. What about your family? Do you live with anyone? With my mother. It's just the two of us since he passed. I'm sorry. Thank you. He was a good man, hard-working. He left a small bank debt that turned into a big problem for us. Ashley surprised herself with her honesty. She hadn't planned to talk about her family's financial situation, but something about the way Ryan listened encouraged her to be open. What kind of problem? Interest, penalties. You know how it is. What started small became a snowball. Ryan knew that situation all too well. He'd seen many families destroyed by debts that could have been easily settled with the amount he spent on a single meal at expensive restaurants. Have you tried renegotiating? Several times. The bank manager won't budge. Banks are usually like that. The conversation continued for another hour. Ryan talked about his work, the challenges of running a large company, and the constant pressure for results. Ashley realized that, despite their obvious differences, they shared some similar concerns. When it was time to leave, Ryan insisted on walking her to the nearest bus stop. I really enjoyed our conversation, he said when they arrived. Me too. Can we do this again? Ashley hesitated. The meeting had gone better than she'd expected. Ryan had proven to be a good listener, respectful and genuinely interested in what she had to say, but Frank's words echoed in her mind. Ryan, can I ask you something? Of course. Why me? You must know far more interesting women who fit your social standing. The question caught Ryan off guard. He'd prepared for many possible questions, but not one so direct. Because you're real. The women I usually meet are always playing a role, trying to impress. You're genuine. But that doesn't solve the differences between us. What differences? You know what they are. Ryan took a step closer, lowering his voice. Ashley, I don't care about social class or financial differences. I care about a person's character. And you have something special that I've never found in anyone else. His words made Ashley's heart race, but her rational mind remained cautious. I don't want you to feel obligated to anything, Ryan continued. We can take it slow, get to know each other better. No pressure. All right, but I need to be honest, my life is complicated. I have responsibilities I can't just walk away from. I understand and respect that. The bus arrived just as Ashley was about to reply. She stepped onto the vehicle and waved at Ryan through the window. The entire ride home, she couldn't stop smiling. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now back to the story. At home, Barbara immediately noticed the new sparkle in her daughter's eyes. How was your outing? Ashley had told her mother she was meeting a friend, leaving out any details about Ryan. It was nice, Mom. We talked a lot. Had fun. That's good, sweetheart. You should go out more, meet people. Working all the time isn't living. If Barbara knew the truth about her daughter's outing, she'd probably be worried. Ashley decided to keep her relationship with Ryan a secret until she was sure of her own feelings and his. That night, Ashley lay in bed thinking about their meeting. Ryan had surprised her. He wasn't arrogant or superior, traits she'd expected from a man in his position. Instead, he seemed genuinely interested in getting to know her as a person. But doubts lingered. Could two such different worlds come together harmoniously? Or was she just feeding a fantasy that would end in disappointment? On Sunday morning, Ashley woke to a surprise, a simple text on her phone. How had Ryan gotten her number through the cleaning company? The message was brief. "Good morning. Ashley, hope you slept well. Thank you for yesterday afternoon. Ryan." She stared at the screen for minutes, unsure how to reply. Finally, she typed, "Good morning. Thanks for the coffee. It was a nice afternoon." Ryan's response came quickly. "Would you like to take a walk in Central Park this afternoon? I promise it'll be relaxed." Ashley hesitated. 2 outings in 2 days might seem too rushed, but the thought of spending more time with Ryan was tempting. "I'm not sure I can. I need to help my mum with some things at home." "I understand. Maybe another time." His polite reply reassured her. He didn't push or sound irritated. Signs Dorothy had said were important in judging a man's character. That Sunday, Ashley helped her mother with chores and took time to reflect. She was getting emotionally involved with a man from a completely different world. Was it wise to continue? On the other hand, Ryan had behaved like a gentleman so far, respecting her boundaries, showing genuine interest in her life, and never making inappropriate advances. Monday morning brought Ashley back to reality. Frank kept making snide remarks about her involvement with Ryan, and Supervisor Kevin Richardson showed up unexpectedly to inspect the cleaning route. "Johnson, come here," Kevin called when the truck stopped outside one of the houses. Ashley's stomach tightened. Kevin only used last names when something was wrong. "Yes, sir? There have been complaints about inappropriate behavior during work hours. Do you know anything about this?" Ashley quickly glanced at Frank, who averted his eyes. Her co-worker had reported her conversations with Ryan to their supervisor. "I don't understand, sir." "Long conversations with residents during work hours. It slows down the route and gives the company a bad image. They were just polite greetings, Mr. Kevin, nothing more." "I hope that's true, because any behavior that harms the company's reputation will result in immediate termination. Am I clear?" "Yes, sir." Kevin got on his motorcycle and left, leaving Ashley with a racing heart. The threat had been clear. Any further contact with Ryan during work could cost her job. In the truck, Frank avoided looking directly at her but muttered a justification. "It was for your own good, girl. You'll see." Ashley didn't respond but felt a mix of anger and disappointment. Frank, whom she had considered a friend, had betrayed her trust. When they arrived at the street where Ryan lived, Ashley stepped out of the truck with stiff movements. If he appeared, she'd have to be cold and distant to keep her job. Ryan was in the garden, watering some ornamental plants. When he saw the truck approaching, he felt the usual excitement of the past few days. But something in Ashley's demeanor warned him that things had changed. "Good morning," he said, walking closer. "Good morning, Mr. Thompson," Ashley replied, formally avoiding direct eye contact. "Did something happen?" Ashley glanced quickly at the truck, where Frank and Kevin, who had circled back, were watching. Kevin had made sure to follow the truck discreetly to see if his warning would be taken seriously. "I can't talk during work. I'm sorry." Ryan noticed the tension in her voice and the worried look she gave the truck. "I understand. Trouble at work?" Ashley gave a slight nod without speaking. She quickly finished collecting the trash bags and returned to the truck without looking back. Ryan watched the truck drive away, feeling growing frustration. It was clear Ashley was facing pressure because of him, and that bothered him deeply. That afternoon, he made a decision that would drastically change the course of events. He researched the sanitation company where Ashley worked and discovered it was a small subcontractor hired by the city. The company, called Clean NYC, was owned by a man named Charles Wilson, whom Ryan knew vaguely from social events. Charles was always looking for investors to expand his business. Ryan scheduled a meeting with Charles for the following Wednesday, under the pretext of discussing investment opportunities. His plan was to use his influence to protect Ashley from further trouble at work. Meanwhile, Ashley spent the next few days in deepening melancholy. Her morning conversations with Ryan had become a highlight of her days, and their absence left a void she hadn't expected to feel. On Tuesday night, she got a message from him. "I miss our talks, can I call you?" Ashley replied, "Better not. I'm in trouble at work because of our conversations." Ryan responded immediately, "I'm sorry. I never meant to cause problems for you. Can we meet outside work hours?" Ashley hesitated before replying, "I don't know if it's a good idea for us to keep seeing each other." "Why? We're too different. This can only end badly." "Ashley, you're judging something before giving it a real chance. Can we talk about this in person?" After a long pause, Ashley agreed to meet him on Thursday evening at a popular mall near her home. She chose that location because she wanted Ryan to see her real world, not just the sophisticated environments he was used to. On Wednesday, Ryan met with Charles Wilson at the Clean NYC office. The place was modest, with old furniture and a noisy air conditioner that barely worked. "Ryan, what a surprise! I didn't expect to see you here," said Charles, clearly flattered by the visit. "Charles, I'm always looking for investment opportunities in stable sectors. Urban cleaning is a guaranteed market." "Exactly. There will always be demand. And with the new city contracts, we're growing fast." "Speaking of employees, how's the quality of your staff?" "We have a few minor issues, but nothing that affects the service." "What kind of issues?" "Oh, you know how it is. Some employees think they can chat with customers during work, others show up late. My supervisor, Kevin Richardson, is handling these matters." Ryan mentally noted the supervisor's name. "And how do you deal with these situations?" "Zero tolerance. One warning, two warnings, and the third time, they're fired. We can't risk our reputation." "I see, and if it were necessary, say, to relax these rules a bit for especially dedicated employees." "How so?" "Employees who show excellence in their work, who are punctual and responsible. Maybe they deserve special treatment." Charles sensed there was something specific behind Ryan's question, but chose not to pry. The possibility of receiving an investment from the businessman was too valuable to risk with nosy questions. "Of course, we always value good employees. Flexibility can be important in some cases." "Great. I'll review your business numbers and we'll talk again soon." Ryan left the meeting satisfied. He had planted the necessary seed to protect Ashley without revealing his personal interest in the situation. On Thursday evening, Ashley arrived at the mall 20 minutes late. Public transportation had faced issues, and she showed up sweaty and uncomfortable. Ryan was waiting for her at a simple fast food spot in the food court. When he saw her arrive, he immediately noticed her discomfort and the way she looked around, clearly embarrassed to have brought him to a place so different from where they usually met. "Sorry I'm late. The bus broke down on the way." "No problem. I already ordered a soda for you." Ashley sat on the plastic chair, a stark contrast to the elegant settings of their previous meetings. "Ryan, we need to talk seriously." "I'm listening." "This can't work. Our worlds are too different." "Why do you think that?" "Look around. This is my world. Cheap fast food, a regular mall, people struggling to pay bills. You live in a universe of expensive restaurants, luxury German cars, million-dollar homes. And does that matter to you?" "Not to me, but it matters to the world. It matters to your social circle, your family, your business." Ryan leaned over the table, speaking softly. "Ashley, let me tell you something about my world. It's full of fake, opportunistic people who connect out of convenience. I've never met someone who saw me as a person, not just a bank account. But you don't understand. I can't offer you anything you don't already have. You can offer honesty, genuine care, real conversations. That's worth more than anything material." Ashley felt tears forming in her eyes. "And what if your family doesn't accept me? What if your friends laugh at you? What if it hurts your business? Then I'll find out who my real friends and family are." "It's easy to say that now, but when reality hits, you might change your mind." Ryan reached across the table and held her hand. "Ashley, I'm not asking you to drastically change your life. I'm just asking for a chance for us to get to know each other better. No pressure, no unrealistic expectations. And my job, my supervisor made it clear that any involvement with residents could cost me my position. That won't happen." "How can you be so sure?" Ryan hesitated. He couldn't mention his conversation with Charles Wilson without making it seem like he was trying to buy her affection. "Trust me, I found a way to fix this." "What way?" "I'd rather not go into details now, but I can guarantee you won't have any more trouble at work because of us." Ryan's vague answer only deepened Ashley's suspicions. How could he solve her professional problems without using his influence or money? "Ryan, did you use your power to interfere with my job?" "Not exactly. Yes or no?" "I talked to a few people, but only to clarify that you're an exemplary employee." Ashley pulled her hand away sharply. "I can't believe you did that. I did it to protect you. You have no right to interfere in my professional life without my permission." "Ashley, it was nothing major. It was manipulation. You used your money and influence to control a situation that should have been between us." Ashley stood up from the table, visibly upset. "This is exactly what I was afraid of. You think you can fix everything with money and power. That's not it. I just wanted what? To buy me? Make my life easier so I'd be grateful and accept your advances?" "Ashley, you're misinterpreting everything." "Am I?" "Then explain how you talked to a few people about my job." Ryan realized he'd made a serious mistake. His intentions had been good, but the outcome was disastrous. "I met the owner of the company where you work. I just suggested that dedicated employees deserve fair treatment. And you don't think that'll raise suspicions about me? That my co-workers won't assume I'm getting special treatment for some reason?" Ryan hadn't considered that. He'd been so focused on protecting Ashley that he hadn't thought through the consequences. "I'm sorry, I didn't think of that." "That's exactly the problem, Ryan. You don't think. You act like the world is your personal playground." Ashley grabbed her purse and turned to leave. "Ashley, wait, we can talk about this." "There's nothing to talk about. You confirmed every fear I had about what would happen if we got involved." "Don't leave like this. Give me a chance to explain." "Explain what? That you think you can control my life? That your resources matter more than my independence?" Ryan stood up too, desperate to fix things. "That's not it. I care about you. I just wanted to help. Your help isn't welcome, and neither are you." Ashley walked out of the diner, leaving Ryan alone at the plastic table, surrounded by the wreckage of a conversation that had destroyed any future between them. On the ride home, Ashley felt a mix of anger and disappointment. Her worst fears about Ryan had come true. He really believed his money and influence could solve anything, even winning a woman over. At home, Barbara noticed her daughter's mood, but Ashley claimed she was just tired from work. She wasn't ready to explain everything to her mother. Ryan, meanwhile, spent the whole night reflecting on his mistakes. His life experience had taught him that problems were solved with resources and connections. He hadn't considered that Ashley might see his actions as manipulation. By Friday morning, the tension on the cleaning route was palpable. Kevin Richardson had received instructions from Charles Wilson to be more flexible with dedicated employees, but he wasn't entirely sure what that meant. When the truck arrived on Ryan's street, Ashley stepped out with stiff movements, avoiding looking toward the mansion. Ryan was at his office window, watching but didn't approach. The collection was completed in absolute silence. Ashley finished quickly and returned to the truck without raising her eyes. Ryan walked to the gate as the truck was already driving away. He found an envelope in his mailbox, clearly placed there by Ashley. Inside was the business card he'd given her with the bakery's address, along with a simple note. "Thanks for the coffees, Ashley." The message was clear. She was closing any possibility of a relationship between them. In the following days, Ryan tried contacting her through text messages, but received no response. Ashley had blocked his number and decided it was best to completely forget that chapter of her life, but fate had other plans for them both. The following Monday, Ashley received an unexpected summons to report to the Clean NYC office. Kevin Richardson accompanied her there, but couldn't explain the reason for the call. In Charles Wilson's office, Ashley found a scene she hadn't anticipated. Ryan was seated in a chair beside the businessman's desk, apparently in a business meeting. "Miss Johnson, please have a seat," said Charles. Ashley looked back and forth between Ryan and Charles, not understanding what was happening. "Mr. Thompson here is interested in investing in our company," Charles continued. And he's made some interesting suggestions about employee recognition. Ashley felt her blood rise to her head. Ryan had used his money to further manipulate her professional situation. "What kind of recognition?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "Scholarships for dedicated employees," Ryan answered before Charles could speak. "Opportunities for career growth, better working conditions." "And would I be included in these opportunities?" "You and other employees who demonstrate excellence in their work," said Charles. Ashley stood abruptly. "May I speak with Mr. Thompson privately?" Charles hesitated, but Ryan agreed. They stepped out into the small company's hallway. "You have no boundaries, do you?" Ashley said as soon as they were alone. "Ashley, let me explain." "There's nothing to explain. You're literally buying my attention." "That's not it. I thought of a way to help you achieve your dreams without making it seem like a personal favor. By offering a scholarship through the company I work for? How is that not a personal favor?" "Because it would be a program for multiple employees, not just you." "Ryan, you don't understand. I don't want your help. I don't want your money. I don't want anything from you." "Why? Why are you so afraid of accepting help?" "Because help always comes with a price, and I can't afford yours." "What price? I've never asked for anything in return." "Not yet, but you will. Men like you always do." Ryan felt growing frustration. Every attempt to get closer to Ashley was being interpreted in the worst possible way. "Ashley, you're being unfair to me." "Unfair? You barged into my professional life without permission, tried to buy my attention with disguised gifts, and I'm the one being unfair." "That's not what I meant to do, but it's what you did." Ashley returned to Charles's office, leaving Ryan in the hallway. "Mr. Wilson, I appreciate the opportunity, but I'm not interested in the scholarships offered by Mr. Thompson. But Miss Johnson, it's a once-in-a-lifetime chance." "I know, but I prefer to achieve my goals through my own efforts." Ashley left the office without looking back. Ryan followed her to the street, but she had already boarded a bus by the time he reached the sidewalk. That afternoon, while cleaning offices, Ashley told Dorothy the whole situation. "My dear, are you sure you're doing the right thing?" "What do you mean?" "That man seems genuinely interested in you, and he's trying to help in a way that doesn't compromise your dignity." "Dorothy, he's trying to buy me. Or he's trying to find a way to be close to you without hurting your pride." Dorothy's remark planted a small seed of doubt in Ashley's mind. Could she have misread Ryan's intentions? "But even if that's true, Dorothy, our worlds are too different. It could never work." "Why not?" "Because I have nothing to offer a man like him." "Who says so?" "It's obvious." "Not to me. You're a hard-working, honest, caring woman." "What? Man wouldn't want that." "Rich men want rich women, Dorothy. That's reality. Sometimes, but sometimes rich men get tired of rich women and want something real." Ashley spent the rest of the afternoon thinking about Dorothy's words. Had she been too harsh with Ryan? Were his intentions really bad? Or was he just trying to help in the way he thought best? But even if his intentions were good, the fact remained, they lived in different worlds. A relationship between them was doomed to fail. That night, Ashley made a drastic decision. She requested a transfer to another cleaning route, citing personal issues with some residents in her current area. Kevin Richardson tried to dissuade her. "Johnson, you know this route well. It'd be a waste of experience to move you to another area." "I'd rather start fresh somewhere else, Mr. Kevin." "Are you sure? Mr. Charles mentioned you're an exemplary employee in this area." The mention of Charles's name confirmed Ashley's suspicions about Ryan's influence. "I'm sure." "All right, starting Monday, you'll be responsible for the west side of the city." The west side was over 2 hours away from Ashley's home, meaning she'd have to wake up at 4 every morning, but it was a sacrifice she was willing to make to avoid any chance of running into Ryan again. Ryan found out about Ashley's transfer on Tuesday when he noticed a different crew cleaning his street. He immediately called Charles Wilson. "Charles, what happened to the employee Ashley Johnson?" "Oh, she requested a transfer. Said she had personal issues with some residents in the area." "Personal issues?" She didn't go into details, but she was adamant about changing areas. Ryan hung up the phone feeling a mix of guilt and frustration. His attempts to help Ashley had backfired completely. Now she was facing even greater hardships because of him. Over the next 2 weeks, Ryan tried to get information about Ashley's new route through Charles, but the businessman grew suspicious that something personal was involved and refused to provide further details. Meanwhile, Ashley faced the consequences of her decision. The new route required her to wake up at 4 in the morning, and she wouldn't get home before 9 at night, accounting for travel time. She was physically exhausted and emotionally drained. The family's financial situation wasn't improving either. The deadline to pay off the bank debt was approaching, and Ashley hadn't even managed to gather half the amount needed. At home, Barbara noticed her daughter's growing fatigue, but her attempts to talk were met with vague responses. "Honey, you're working yourself to death. This can't go on. I need to work, Mum. We have bills to pay." "But not at this cost. You're losing weight. You have deep, dark circles under your eyes." "I'll be fine." "No, you won't. And I don't want you destroying yourself over the debts your father left behind." "Mom, it's our responsibility. We can't run away from it. We could sell the house and rent a smaller place. This house is all we have. I won't let us lose it." The conversation ended as usual, with no solution to their mounting problems. On Thursday of the second week after her transfer, Ashley had an especially tough day. One of the trash bags she was carrying tore open, scattering debris all over the sidewalk. As she was cleaning up the mess, it started to rain, soaking her clothes and making the task even harder. When she finally finished her shift, she missed the bus home and had to wait 40 minutes for the next one. She arrived home at 10 at night, drenched, exhausted, and feverish. Barbara found her daughter passed out on the living room couch. Ashley, wake up!" Ashley opened her eyes with difficulty. Her vision was blurry and her whole body ached. "Mom, you're burning up with fever. We're going to the hospital." "No, we can't afford a hospital. I don't care about the money. You need medical attention." Barbara called an ambulance, and Ashley was taken to the nearest public hospital. The diagnosis was pneumonia. The result, a physical exhaustion and exposure to the elements. Ashley was hospitalized for 3 days. During that time, she lost her job at Clean NYC, since Kevin Richardson doesn't accept absences without prior medical documentation. When she was discharged from the hospital, Ashley found herself in a desperate situation. Jobless, with hospital, bills now added to the bank debt, and only a week left to stop the foreclosure on their house. It was in this moment of total despair that fate decided to intervene once again. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now continuing, Dorothy, her supervisor at the office cleaning job, visited Ashley at home the Friday after her discharge. "Sweetheart, you gave me such a scare. How are you feeling?" "Better, Dorothy. Thank you for coming. I brought you a few things." Dorothy handed her a bag with fruit, medicine, and some cleaning supplies she had bought with her own money. "Dorothy, you didn't have to." "Yes, I did. We're family here." During their conversation, Dorothy noticed Ashley's desperation and managed to get the full truth about her financial struggles. "Honey, why didn't you tell me sooner? I didn't want to worry anyone." "Ashley, have you tried everything to get this money?" "Everything. Loans, extra jobs, selling personal belongings. There's nothing left I can do." Dorothy fell silent for a few minutes, clearly thinking something over. "Ashley, I'm going to tell you something you might not want to hear." "What is it?" "That wealthy man you were seeing. Are you sure he wouldn't help?" "Dorothy, let me finish. I'm not talking about charity, I'm talking about a loan. You could pay him back once you got back on your feet." "I can't ask him for money." "Why not?" "Because it would be humiliating, and he'd think I was only after his money." "What if he didn't? What if he genuinely cared about you and wanted to help?" "Dorothy, our relationship is over. He's probably forgotten I exist." "Are you sure?" Ashley didn't answer. Part of her wondered if Ryan had really forgotten her, but she wasn't willing to find out. On Saturday morning, the situation took an unexpected turn. Barbara received a call from the bank informing her that the debt had been paid off by a third party, but they couldn't reveal the person's identity due to privacy reasons. Sweetheart, come here. Ashley rushed to the living room, still weak from pneumonia. What is it, Mom? The bank called. The debt's been paid. What do you mean? Someone paid off our debt. I can't believe it. Ashley felt her mix of relief and suspicion. Who could have paid off an $8,000 debt without asking for anything in return? Mom, did they say who it was? They said they couldn't reveal it for privacy reasons. But Ashley already knew who it was. There was only one person with both the means and knowledge of her situation to do this: Ryan Thompson. The discovery brought conflicting emotions. On one hand, she was immensely grateful for solving a problem that had seemed impossible to fix. On the other, she felt humiliated and indebted to a man she had outright rejected. On Monday morning, Ashley made a decision. She borrowed money for the fare from Dorothy and went to Ryan's mansion in the Upper East Side. Ryan was in his office when the doorbell rang. He was expecting a client, but when he saw Ashley on the gate monitor, his heart raced. Ashley? Ryan, I need to talk to you. He opened the gate immediately and came down to greet her. Ashley looked visibly thinner, with dark circles under her eyes and clothes that seemed too big for her frame. My God, what happened to you? I had pneumonia. I was hospitalized for a few days. Are you okay now? I'm better. Ryan invited her inside, but Ashley refused. I'd rather talk out here. All right, what's this about? Did you pay off our bank debt? Ryan hesitated. He had assumed she'd figure it out eventually, but not this quickly. Yes. Why? Because I care about you, and because I knew you were struggling. Ryan, I told you I didn't want your help, and I respected that. No strings attached, nothing expected in return. It was a gift. A gift? $8,000? For me, yes, it's an amount that doesn't make a difference in my budget, but it makes a huge difference in mine. Ashley pulled an envelope from her pocket that she had prepared before leaving home. What's this? A loan agreement, with interest, terms, and all the legal conditions for me to pay you back. Ryan took the envelope, but didn't open it. Ashley, this isn't necessary. It is for me. I don't want to owe you. You don't owe me. It was a gift. I don't accept gifts like that. Why are you so proud? It's not pride, it's dignity. Ryan looked at the woman in front of him. Even sick and fragile, Ashley held onto her determination and principles. All right, I'll accept the loan agreement. Thank you. But on one condition. What condition? 0% interest and a 10-year repayment period. That's not fair to you. It's fair to me. Ashley considered the offer. It was better than the bank debt they'd faced, but it still left her indebted to Ryan. Fine, I accept. Great, I'll sign the contract. Ryan quickly read through the document Ashley had prepared. It was surprisingly detailed and professional for someone without a legal background. Did you do this yourself? I researched online and got help from a lawyer friend of Dorothy's. It's well done. I try to do things right. Ryan signed the contract and handed a copy back to Ashley. Now we're officially creditor and debtor, she said, tucking the document into her bag. Ashley, can I ask you something? What? Why can't you just accept that I helped because I care about you? Because experience has taught me nothing in life is free. Every favor comes with a price, and what would my price be? I don't know, not yet. The answer showed a deep distrust that saddened Ryan. Ashley had built walls around her heart that seemed impossible to break through. Ashley, I would never ask for anything in return for my help. Maybe not consciously, but unconsciously. You're already expecting me to be grateful, that I'll change my opinion about you. And would that be so bad? It would, if it's for the wrong reasons. Ryan realized he was at a crossroads. He could keep trying to convince Ashley of his good intentions, or he could respect her boundaries and let time reveal the truth. Ashley, I won't try to convince you anymore, but I want you to know that if you ever need anything, a job, medical help, anything, you can count on me. Thank you, but I'd rather solve my problems on my own. I understand. Ashley got ready to leave, but Ryan stopped her with one last question. Did you find another job? Not yet, but I will. If you want, I can make a few calls. Ryan, sorry, force of habit. Ashley left the mansion with mixed feelings. On one hand, she was relieved to have turned the gift into a formal loan. On the other, she couldn't deny that Ryan's attitude showed a level of concern that went beyond superficial interest. Over the following weeks, Ashley threw herself into her job search. She visited cleaning companies, restaurants, stores, and offices, but always faced the same obstacle. Her experience was limited to cleaning, and the available jobs required qualifications she didn't have. Meanwhile, Ryan fought the urge to interfere again. Several times, he picked up the phone to call contacts, who could offer Ashley a job, but always stopped at the last moment, remembering her words about preferring to solve problems on her own. Ashley's situation grew more desperate when Dorothy informed her that her position at the office cleaning job was also at risk. "The company is cutting staff, Ashley. Since you missed a few weeks because of pneumonia, your name is on the list. Dorothy, this job is all I have right now." "I know, sweetie, I'm trying to vouch for you, but I can't promise anything." The news left Ashley panicked. Without the afternoon job, she wouldn't be able to cover even basic living expenses, let alone the loan she'd taken from Ryan. It was in this state of extreme vulnerability that Ashley received an unexpected call. "Hello? Miss Johnson? This is Jennifer Parker from Thompson Technologies." Ashley recognized the name of Ryan's company. "How can I help you?" "I'd like to speak with you about a job opportunity. Could you come to our office tomorrow at 2 in the afternoon?" "What kind of job?" "We'd prefer to discuss it in person. The address is..." Ashley wrote down the address, but her mind buzzed with suspicion. It was too much of a coincidence that Ryan's company would contact her just when she was desperate for work. The next morning, Ashley dressed in her best outfit, a dress borrowed from Dorothy, and took the subway downtown. The Thompson Technologies building was imposing, 30 stories tall with a luxurious lobby that intimidated her. Jennifer Parker greeted her personally on the 25th floor. She was an elegant woman in her early 40s, wearing an expensive suit and carrying an Italian leather briefcase. "Miss Johnson, thank you for coming. I'm Jennifer Parker, the company's CFO." "Nice to meet you, Ms. Parker. Please just call me Jennifer. Have a seat." Jennifer's office was spacious and modern, with a panoramic view of the city. Ashley felt completely out of place in that environment. "Jennifer, may I ask how you got my contact?" "Through references. We heard you're a dedicated and responsible professional. What kind of work do you have available?" "Administrative assistant trainee. It would obviously require initial training, but we believe you have potential to grow within the company." The offer sounded too good to be true. Ashley was certain Ryan was behind it. "Jennifer, can I be direct?" "Of course." "Is Ryan Thompson involved in this job offer?" Jennifer hesitated for a moment before answering. "Ryan is the CEO of the company. Every hiring goes through his final approval. But did he specifically suggest I be hired? I can't discuss internal company details." The evasive answer confirmed Ashley's suspicions. "Jennifer, I appreciate the opportunity, but I can't accept a job that was arranged for me. Miss Johnson, I can assure you the position is legitimate. We genuinely need an administrative assistant. Even if that's true, I'd always know I got the role through influence, not merit. I can't work like that. I understand your concern, but thank you for your time and consideration, but I have to decline." Ashley stood to leave, but Jennifer stopped her. "Miss Johnson, may I speak to you as a woman, not as a company representative?" "Of course. Ryan has been suffering since your disagreement. He blames himself for what happened and genuinely wants to help. But this isn't the right way." "What would be the right way?" "There isn't one. Our worlds are too different." "Why do you think that?" "Because it's the reality. I'm an unemployed sanitation worker, the daughter of a cleaning lady. He's a millionaire businessman. There's no bridge between those two worlds." Jennifer studied Ashley for a moment before responding. "Can I tell you something about Ryan that you might not know?" "What?" "He wasn't born rich. His father started the company with a $1,000 loan 40 years ago. Ryan grew up watching his father work 18-hour days to build what we have today." The information surprised Ashley. Ryan had always seemed so comfortable in his world of luxury that she assumed he was born into it. "That doesn't change." The fact that he's rich now? No. But it means he understands the value of hard work, and maybe that's why he admires your dedication so much. Jennifer, may I ask why you're telling me this? Because I've worked with Ryan for 10 years. I've never seen him interested in a woman the way he is in you. Does that bother you? At first, yes. I thought it was a passing whim. But after observing how he's been acting, I realize it's genuine. Ashley felt torn between this new information about Ryan and her own convictions about their differences. Jennifer, even if his feelings are genuine, it doesn't solve the practical differences between us. What practical differences? Education, culture, social circles. I wouldn't know how to behave in his world. What if he adapted to yours? That would be impossible for him. How can you be so sure? Ashley had no answer. She'd been so focused on her own limitations that she'd never considered Ryan might make concessions. Jennifer, I need to go. Thank you for the conversation. Ashley, may I make a suggestion? What? Give Ryan a real chance to get to know him. So not the wealthy man, but the person. You might be surprised. How? Meet in places from your world. See if he adapts. If he can't, you'll have your answer. If he can, maybe it's worth exploring the possibility. Jennifer's suggestion planted a seed in Ashley's mind. Could she test Ryan's sincerity by putting him in situations outside his comfort zone? I'll think about what you said. That's all I ask. Ashley left the Thompson Technologies building with far more on her mind than when she'd entered. Jennifer's words had revealed aspects of Ryan she hadn't known and offered a different perspective about the social divide she imagined existed between them. That afternoon, Ashley spoke with Dorothy again about the situation. So, he wasn't born rich? That's what the woman said. His father built the company from scratch. Does that change anything for you? I don't know, maybe. Ashley, you're afraid. Afraid of what? Of discovering he might be the right man for you. Dorothy, it's true. You're protecting yourself by creating obstacles where none may exist. What if I get involved and find out it doesn't work? What if he gets tired of playing poor and wants to return to his world? What if it does work? What if you're happy together? I can't let myself dream about that. Why not? Because dreaming hurts when it doesn't come true. Dorothy hugged Ashley with maternal affection. My dear, life without dreams isn't living, it's just surviving. That night, Ashley made a decision. She texted Ryan, "Can we talk tomorrow afternoon? I have a proposal for you." The reply came in less than 5 minutes. Of course, where and when? At the square in my neighborhood in Queens, 3 o'clock. I'll be there. Ashley was proposing the first real test to see how Ryan would behave in her territory, far from the comfort and elegance he was accustomed to. The next afternoon, Ryan arrived at the Queen's Square driving his luxury German car, but quickly realized the vehicle drew unnecessary attention in the modest neighborhood. He parked a few blocks away and walked to the meeting spot. The square was small and simple, with rusty exercise equipment and a few concrete benches. Children played on a basic playground while their mothers chatted about everyday problems. Ashley waited for him sitting on one of the benches, wearing jeans and a plain t-shirt. When she saw Ryan approaching, she noticed he'd swapped his suit for casual clothes, jeans and a polo shirt, in an obvious attempt to fit in. "Thanks for coming," she said as he sat beside her. "Thanks for inviting me. Ryan, I spoke with Jennifer yesterday. I figured she told me about the meeting. Why did you ask her to offer me a job? Because I knew you needed one and had the qualifications for the position." "What qualifications?" "I'm a sanitation worker, Ryan." "You're an intelligent, responsible and dedicated woman. Those are important qualifications, but not technical ones. Technical skills can be learned. Character can't." Ashley watched a child chasing a ball that had rolled beyond the makeshift field. "Jennifer told me you weren't born rich." "That's true. My father started the company in a garage." "What was your life like as a child?" "Simple. We lived in a small house in Hoboken. My father worked hard, my mother took care of the house and me." "When did it change?" "Gradually. As the company grew, our life improved. But I only moved into a mansion after 25, when I inherited the business. Do you miss the simple life? Ryan considered the question carefully. Sometimes there were fewer responsibilities, less pressure. Relationships felt more genuine. Why did it change then? I didn't choose to change. Circumstances led me there, and when you get used to certain comforts, it's hard to go back. But could you go back if you had to? Depends on the reason. Ashley turned to look at him directly. Ryan, I have a proposal for you. What is it? I want you to live a week as I live, take public transportation, eat where I eat, go where I go. If you can do this without complaining, maybe I'll believe we're compatible. The proposal caught Ryan by surprise. It was a much more radical challenge than I expected. A whole week? 7 days. Do you accept? Ryan looked around the simple square, watching people pass by in their modest clothes and old cars, smelling the cheap food being sold at a nearby stall. I accept. Are you sure? It won't be easy. I'm sure. Then we start Monday. I'll pick you up at 6 in the morning so you can come with me to look for a job. All right? And Ryan? Yes? During this week, you're just Ryan, not the CEO of Thompson Technologies. No using your influence or money to solve problems. Understood. Ashley felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. She had just created a test that could definitively prove whether a relationship between them was possible or just an impossible fantasy. See you Monday, then. See you Monday. Ryan went home with his mind racing. He had accepted a challenge. That would take him completely out of his comfort zone, but he was determined to prove to Ashley that his feelings were genuine. Over the weekend, he mentally prepared for the experience. He set aside simple clothes he had bought years ago for outdoor activities, studied public transportation routes, and researched the reality of the American working class. Jennifer tried to dissuade him when she heard about the plan. Ryan, this is crazy. You have responsibilities to the company. I'll work remotely. It's just a week. What if someone recognizes you? What if this leaks to the press? It's a risk I'm willing to take. For a woman who barely knows you. For a woman who could be the love of my life. Jennifer shook her head, worried, but realized Ryan was too determined to be convinced otherwise. Monday arrived with a light, cold rain typical of New York City winters. Ryan woke up at 5:30 in the morning, put on faded jeans, a plain t-shirt, and old running shoes. He looked in the mirror and barely recognized himself. At 6 sharp, he was at Ashley's door in Queens. The house was small but well kept, with a simple garden in front and bars on the windows. Ashley greeted him with a smile that mixed surprise and approval. You actually came. I said I would. And right on time. I always keep my commitments. Let's go then. We have a long day ahead. The first stop was a job agency in the area. For the first time, Ryan experienced the reality of waiting, in line with dozens of other unemployed people, filling out basic forms and being treated as just another number. Next, Ashley approached the service counter, followed by Ryan. Good morning, we're here looking for job openings. The clerk, a middle-aged woman with a bored expression, barely looked up from her papers. What kind of work? Anything. Cleaning, sales, stock, education, high school diploma. Previous experience? 3 years in sanitation, 2 years in office cleaning. The clerk noted the information mechanically. And you? She asked Ryan. I'm also looking for any kind of work. Experience. Ryan hesitated. He couldn't mention his real professional experience. Odd jobs. Nothing steady. Education. College degree. The clerk finally looked up, surprised. College degree and looking for any kind of work. Tough situation, Ryan murmured. Leave your information. If anything comes up, we'll contact you. They left the agency with little hope. Ryan had experienced for the first time the impersonal and discouraging treatment Ashley faced regularly. How do you put up with this? Habit and necessity. The second stop was a diner where Ashley sometimes ate when she worked in the area. The place was small with formica tables and a limited menu of simple dishes. 2 daily specials, ordered Ashley. The meal cost $8 for both: rice, beans, a small piece of meat, and a lettuce salad. Ryan ate in silence, thinking he spent more than that on a single cup of coffee at his usual restaurants. "Not good?" asked Ashley, noticing his expression. "It's fine. Just thinking." "About what?" "How people manage to live with so little." "They manage because they have no choice." After lunch, they visited 2 more employment agencies and a cleaning company that was hiring. Everywhere, Ryan was met with the indifference reserved for people without influence or resources. By late afternoon, they were at the bus stop waiting for their ride home. The bus arrived packed, and they had to stand, squeezed among other passengers, weary from a day's work. During the ride, Ryan observed the people around him: housekeepers, salespeople, students, all with expressions of exhaustion and worry he had rarely noticed when traveling in the comfort of his air-conditioned luxury German car. "How was your first day?" Ashley asked when they got off the bus. "Eye-opening? In what way?" "I never imagined job hunting could be so humiliating." "That's what we do every day." "How do you keep your dignity in situations like that?" "By remembering that work doesn't define who we are. It only defines what we do to survive." Ashley's answer struck Ryan with its depth and maturity. "Ashley, can I ask you something?" "Sure." "Have you ever thought about studying? Going to college?" "Every day, but I don't have the time or money." "What if you did?" "I'd study education. I want to be a teacher." "Why?" "Because I believe education can change people's lives, and because I like kids." Ryan felt growing admiration for the woman beside him. Even facing hardships he couldn't imagine, Ashley kept her dreams and hopes alive. When they arrived at her house, Barbara greeted them at the door. "Good afternoon, Mom. This is Ryan." "Nice to meet you, Mrs. Barbara," said Ryan, extending his hand politely. Barbara studied the young man with curiosity. Ashley had only mentioned he was a friend, helping her look for work. "Nice to meet you. Will you stay for dinner?" Ashley glanced at Ryan, expecting him to politely decline. "If it's no trouble, I'd love to," he replied. "Of course it's no trouble. Ashley, help me in the kitchen." While the 2 women prepared dinner, Ryan stayed in the simple living room, observing the old but well-kept furniture, family photos on the walls, and a small TV tuned to a news program. Dinner was rice, beans, scrambled eggs, and tomato salad. Simple, but made with care. During the meal, Barbara shared stories of her working life, the struggles of raising a daughter alone after her husband's passing, and the small joys she found in daily life. Ryan listened intently, fascinated by the woman's ability to find contentment in a life he would have considered extremely difficult. "Ryan, what do you do for work?" Barbara asked. "I'm between jobs right now." "What field?" "Business administration." "Ah, so you're educated. You'll find something better than my daughter." "Mrs. Barbara, experience is worth more than a degree. Ashley has qualities no college can teach." The answer pleased Barbara, who smiled proudly at her daughter. After dinner, Ryan said goodbye and took the bus back to his side of town. During the hour-and-a-half ride, he reflected on everything he had experienced that first day. Ashley's reality was far harsher than he'd imagined. It wasn't just about having less money. It was about living in a world where dignity and respect were constantly tested by difficult circumstances. He came home physically and emotionally drained, but with a much deeper understanding of the woman he had fallen for. On Tuesday, Ryan woke up with muscle aches he hadn't felt in years. His feet, used to soft leather shoes, hurt inside his running sneakers after a full day of walking on concrete streets. Ashley met him at the same bus stop as the morning before. "How do you feel?" "Tired, but good. Today we'll try a different approach. Companies that hire without an agency." They spent the day visiting stores, supermarkets, and small businesses, always hearing the same answer: "We're not hiring right now," or "Leave your resume and we'll get in touch." By mid-afternoon, at a department store, they finally landed a real interview. "We have an opening for a stock clerk," said the manager, a man in his 40s who seemed to make quick decisions. "Shift from 6 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon. Minimum wage. No prior experience needed." "I'm interested," Ryan said immediately. "Can you start tomorrow?" "I can." "Then you're hired. Bring your documents tomorrow at 5:30 to fill out the paperwork." Ryan left the store with a mix of excitement and apprehension. He'd gotten a real job, but he knew it meant facing 6 days of hard physical work. Ashley watched his reactions with growing surprise. She expected him to quit on the first or second day, but Ryan seemed determined to complete the challenge. "Are you sure you want to do this?" she asked as they left the store. "Absolutely, we made a deal. Stock clerk is tough work, carrying boxes, standing all day. I imagine, but I got the job." It's progress. Ryan's dedication began to shake Ashley's belief in their irreparable differences. That evening, during dinner at Ashley's house, Barbara noticed Ryan seemed more at ease than the day before. "Did you get a job today?" "I did. Stock clerk at a department store." "That's wonderful. Honest work, steady pay." "Exactly. I'm excited to start." After dinner, Ashley and Ryan walked to a nearby plaza to talk privately. "Ryan, can I ask you a personal question?" "Of course." "Why are you doing this? Really doing it, not just pretending?" "Because I want to understand your world, and because I want to prove my feelings are real." "But you don't have to prove anything." "Yes, I do." "You doubted the sincerity of my feelings, and your doubts were fair. I'm from a different world than yours. And what do you hope to gain from this experience?" "I hope you'll see that I can adapt, that our class difference isn't insurmountable. And if you can't adapt, then you'll be right, and I'll accept that." Ryan's honesty moved Ashley deeply. For the first time, she began to seriously consider the possibility that she might have been wrong about the impossibility of a relationship between them. "Ryan, there's something I need to tell you." "What is it?" "I'm starting to believe in you." "Really?" "Really, but I'm still scared." "Scared of what?" "That this is temporary. That you'll get tired of playing poor and want to go back to your real life." "Ashley, this isn't a game to me. It's the most serious thing I've ever done." "Why?" "Because I've never felt for a woman what I feel for you." His words made Ashley's heart race, but she forced herself to stay grounded. "There are still 5 days left. Let's see if you still feel that way after carrying boxes all day." On Wednesday, Ryan started his job as a stock clerk. At 5:30 in the morning, he was at the department store with his documents in hand, being briefed on his duties by the supervisor. "You'll be working in the warehouse, receiving merchandise, checking inventory, organizing products. On the shelves, it's manual labor, nothing glamorous." "I understand." "Any prior experience?" "Not much, but I learn fast." The supervisor, named Bill, was a 50-year-old man who had worked in retail for over 20 years. He had the look of someone who had seen many temporary employees come and go. "Let's see if you can handle it. A lot of people think it's easy until they feel the weight of the boxes." Ryan quickly discovered Bill was right. After 2 hours of carrying boxes of electronics and appliances, his back ached like never before. During the morning break, he sat with other employees in the store's small cafeteria. "First day?" asked a young man in his 20s. "First day." "What's your name?" "Ryan." "I'm Mike, been here 2 years. Do you like the job?" "It's work, pays the bills." The simple conversation revealed the pragmatism with which his new colleagues viewed their professional lives. There was no room for passion or personal fulfillment, just survival. By noon, Ryan was physically exhausted. His hands, unaccustomed to manual labor, had developed blisters. His clothes were sweaty and covered in dust. Ashley showed up at the store during her lunch break to see how he was adjusting. "How's it going?" "Harder than I imagined." "Want to quit?" "No." "You sure? You look dead on your feet." "I'm tired, but I won't quit." Ryan's determination even impressed Bill, the supervisor, who remarked to other employees about the new guy who doesn't complain about anything. In the afternoon, things got tougher when an especially heavy shipment of appliances arrived. Ryan was assigned to help unload the truck, a task requiring physical strength he didn't have. "Careful with that fridge," Bill shouted. "If you drop it, it's coming out of your paycheck." Ryan strained to carry the appliance, but his arms shook dangerously halfway between the truck and the storage room. Mike, the young man he'd met during the break, noticed his struggle and came to help. "Grab the other side. We'll do it." Together. They managed to move the fridge safely. "Thanks," Ryan panted. "No problem. We've all been there at the start. The spontaneous solidarity among the workers moved Ryan deeply. It was something he rarely saw in his usual professional world, where competition and individualism ruled. By the end of the day, when he finally left the store at 2 in the afternoon, Ryan was completely exhausted. Every muscle in his body ached, and his hands were bruised from the manual work. Ashley was waiting at the bus stop with an expression mixing expectation and nervousness. How was the last day? Eye-opening and sad. Sad? I'll miss the people I met. They're good, hard-working folks who deserve so much more than life is giving them. Does that surprise you? I'm surprised by their strength, the dignity they show facing hardships I never even imagined. During the bus ride, they spoke little. Both knew an important conversation awaited them, one that would define their future. When they arrived at Ashley's house, Barbara greeted them with a special dinner. She had prepared her daughter's favorite dish, chicken stew with potatoes, to celebrate the end of Ryan's experience. "How do you feel now that it's over?" Barbara asked during the meal. "Different," Ryan replied. "Like I've learned things about myself I didn't know." "What kind of things?" "That I can be happy with much less than I thought. That working with my hands brings a satisfaction intellectual work doesn't. Simple, honest relationships are worth more than sophisticated networking." Barbara smiled, clearly approving Ryan's words. "Those are valuable lessons." "They are, and I know I wouldn't have learned them if it weren't for your daughter." After dinner, Ashley and Ryan went out for a final walk around the neighborhood. It was a clear night, and the simple streets of the area felt more welcoming than ever. "Ryan, I need to ask you an important question." "Go ahead." "After everything you've experienced this week, do you still think a relationship between us could work?" "I think it can, but I know it'll be hard." "What kind of difficulties do you foresee?" "Social pressure, cultural differences, mutual adaptation to our different worlds." "And are you willing to face those difficulties?" "I am. The question is, are you?" Ashley stopped walking and turned to look at him. "Ryan, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Please. I've fallen in love with you, with the person I met this week, with how hard you've tried to understand my reality." Ryan's heart raced as he heard those words. "But I'm scared," Ashley continued. "Scared that this might just be a phase, an interesting experience. You'll move past once you return to your normal life." "Ashley, let me finish. I'm also afraid I won't be able to adapt to your world, that I won't know how to act at fancy dinners, social events, business meetings." "Those things can be learned." "Maybe, but what if I can't? What if your family and friends never accept me? What if I always feel out of place?" Ryan gently held Ashley's hands. "Ashley, I can't promise it'll be easy, but I can promise I'll be by your side through every hard moment." "How can you promise that?" "Because I've discovered something fundamental this week." "What?" "That you're the most important person in my life, more important than my company, my social status, or any material thing I own." Ryan's words brought tears to Ashley's eyes. "Do you really mean that?" "I do, and I want to prove it to you." "How?" "Ashley Johnson, will you be my girlfriend?" The question hung in the air for a few seconds that felt like an eternity. "I will," Ashley finally answered, "but with a few conditions." "What conditions?" "First, we take it slow. No drastic changes in either of our lives for now." "Agreed." "Second, you can't use your money or influence to solve my problems without my permission." "Agreed." "Third, when I feel uncomfortable or pressured in your world, you have to respect and support me." "Completely agreed." "And fourth, if at any point we realize our differences are too great, we'll end the relationship like adults without drama." "I hope that never happens, but I agree." Ashley smiled for the first time during the whole conversation. "Then we're officially together." "Officially together." Ryan kissed her softly, sealing the start of a relationship they both knew would be challenging, but were determined to make work. The first few months of dating brought a mix of joys and difficulties that constantly tested their resolve. Ryan insisted on continuing to visit Ashley in her world, having dinner at Barbara's house, walking the simple streets of the neighborhood, going to the same modest places where she felt comfortable. Ashley, in turn, gradually began to explore Ryan's world. First dinners at mid-range restaurants, then smaller social events, and finally more formal business-related gatherings. The first major crisis came 3 months later, when Ryan invited her to a high-profile charity gala where the most influential people in New York City would be present. "Ashley, it's an important event for my company. I'd really like you to come with me." "Ryan, I don't know if I'm ready for that kind of event." "Why not?" "Because it'll be full of people from your social circle. People who'll judge me, who'll question our relationship. And does that matter?" "It matters to me. I don't have the confidence yet to face that kind of situation." "Then let's work on building that confidence." "How?" "How about we buy you a dress suitable for the occasion? Maybe even some etiquette classes." Ryan's suggestion, though well-intentioned, touched a nerve for Ashley. "Ryan, are you suggesting I need fixing to be good enough for you?" "No, that's not it. You just want to turn me into an acceptable version of myself for your wealthy friends." "Ashley, you're misunderstanding me." "Am I? Then explain how buying a suitable dress and etiquette classes aren't attempts to mold me to fit into your world." Ryan realized he'd made a serious mistake. In trying to help, he'd suggested exactly what Ashley feared most, that she wasn't good enough as she was. "I'm sorry. You're right. It was a terrible suggestion." "It was. And it makes me wonder if you really accept me as I am." "I do, completely." "Then why the need to prepare me to meet your friends?" Ryan stayed silent for a moment, searching for an honest answer. "Because I'm afraid they'll be rude to you. And I wanted to protect you from any unpleasant comments. By turning me into someone I'm not. That wasn't my intention, but it was the result." The argument ended with Ashley refusing to attend the event and questioning whether she truly knew the person she was dating. Ryan went alone to the charity gala, but spent the whole night thinking about his conversation with Ashley. During the event, he observed the people around him with fresh eyes, the shallow conversations, the showiness disguised as elegance, the constant competition for social status. Around 10 o'clock, he left the party and went straight to Ashley's house. "Ryan, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be at your gala?" "I left early. I needed to talk to you." "About what?" "About how stupid I was today." Ashley invited him in, and they sat in the simple living room where they'd had so many important conversations. "Ashley, you were right about everything. My suggestion was completely wrong." "It was. And I realized something tonight at the party." "What?" "That I don't want you to turn into anything like the people there." "Why?" "Because they're shallow, empty, self-serving. You're real, genuine, true. Those are rare qualities I don't want to lose." "Then why did you invite me to go there?" "Because I wanted them to be part of my life. But now I see I should have been questioning whether I even want them in our lives." Ryan's honesty began to dissolve Ashley's anger. "And did you reach any conclusions?" "I did. I want to drastically cut back on these kinds of social events. I want to focus on real relationships, meaningful work, a simpler life." "Ryan, you don't have to change your life because of me. It's not because of you, it's because of me. This week working with you and these months dating you have shown me how empty my life was. But your company, your business, it'll still exist, but differently. More focused on purpose, less on pure profit." "What kind of purpose?" "Projects that actually help people. Technology that solves social problems, creating good jobs." Ashley realized Ryan was talking about deep, genuine changes in his life. "Are you sure about this?" "Absolutely, and I know exactly where to start." "How?" "By creating a scholarship program for outsourced employees, starting with the company where you used to work." The idea surprised Ashley with its scope and generosity. "That will cost a lot of money." "I have plenty of money. It's time to use it for something truly important." "Ryan, I don't want you to do this for me." "It's not for you. It's for Ruth, for Mike, for Stanley, for all the hard-working people I've met who deserve better opportunities." The conversation ended with a reconciliation that strengthened their relationship even more. But new challenges were on the horizon. The following week, Jennifer Parker requested an urgent meeting with Ryan. "Ryan, We need to talk about some serious issues concerning the company. What issues? Investors are questioning your recent decisions. The scholarship program, reducing attendance at networking events, your more frequent absences. And they're worried about the direction you're taking the company. What direction? A direction less focused on maximum profit. Jennifer, do you think that's necessarily a bad thing? Personally, no. Professionally, it could be a problem if it scares investors. What if I don't care about scaring some investors? Then you need to be prepared for the consequences. What consequences? Attempts to change the board. Pressure to sell shares. Questions about your leadership. Ryan realized his personal changes were creating professional turbulence that could threaten everything his father had built. Jennifer, what do you suggest? That you find a balance, keep investors happy with financial results, but implement your social changes gradually. And if I don't want to do that, then be ready for a corporate war. The conversation with Jennifer planted seeds of worry in Ryan's mind. Could he hold on to his new values and still protect his father's company? That night, he talked to Ashley about the dilemma. Ashley, I'm facing resistance at the company because of the changes. I want to make... What kind of resistance? Investors questioning my leadership, possible attempts to remove me from the board. And what do you plan to do? I don't know. If I fight for my new values, I could lose the company. If I give in to the pressure, I'll go back to being the person I was before. And which person do you prefer to be? The one I am now, the one you helped me discover. Then you already have your answer. But what if I lose everything? Define everything. The company, the money, the social status. And me? Would you lose me? Of course not. Then you wouldn't lose everything. You'd lose material things, but keep what truly matters. Ashley's perspective brought clarity to Ryan. He decided he would fight for his values, even if it cost him his position at the company. However, an unexpected event drastically complicated his situation. The following Monday, financial newspapers published a speculative article about strange changes in the behavior of Thomson Technologies' CEO and raised questions about his emotional stability to lead a major corporation. The article, clearly planted by someone with inside access, mentioned his absences from important events, the unprofitable scholarship program, and rumors of questionable outside influences on his decisions. Ryan knew exactly who was behind: the destabilization campaign, a group of investors led by Victor Reynolds, an ambitious businessman who had long wanted to take control of Thomson Technologies. The pressure grew exponentially when the board called an emergency meeting to discuss corporate governance issues. Jennifer approached him before the meeting. Ryan, you need to be prepared. Victor managed to get support from at least 3 board members. To do what? To question your leadership abilities and possibly propose your temporary replacement. Can they do that? They can try, but you still hold the majority of shares. Then there's no problem. Yes, there is. If they can prove emotional instability or decisions harmful to the company, they could get a court order for temporary removal. Ryan realized he was in a battle that went far beyond differences of opinion about business direction. It was a fight for control of the company his father had built. The board meeting was tense from the start. Victor Reynolds opened the discussion with a direct attack. Gentlemen, we're here because our CEO's recent behavior has raised legitimate concerns about the company's direction. What concerns? Asked Ryan. Unilateral decisions hurting profitability, absences from crucial networking events, unnecessary spending on social programs. Social programs that improve our corporate image and attract talent, Ryan countered. At what cost? And motivated? By what? We've heard rumors about inappropriate personal influences. What kind of influences? Personal relationships that may be compromising your professional judgment. Ryan felt anger rising, but forced himself to stay calm. My personal life is not this board's business. It is when it affects corporate decisions, said Victor. And we have evidence that your recent decisions were driven more by emotions than rational analysis. What evidence? Victor opened a folder and distributed documents to the board members. Private investigator reports documenting your erratic behavior these past weeks, working as a janitor, frequenting places unsuitable for a CEO, a relationship with someone from a social class incompatible with your position. Ryan looked at the documents and saw photos of himself working at the cleaning company, walking through Queens, having dinner in Ashley's modest home. "You had me spied on." "We investigated behavior that could affect the company," Victor corrected. "And what conclusion did you reach?" "That you're going through a personal crisis that's compromising your leadership." "Based on what?" "Based on the fact that a millionaire CEO doesn't work as a janitor for rational reasons." "What if I told you it was a completely rational decision?" "Then we'd have to question your definition of rationality." The debate went on for 2 hours, with Ryan defending his actions and Victor trying to paint a picture of mental instability. In the end, the vote was close. 4 in favor of keeping Ryan in leadership, 3 for temporary removal, and 2 abstentions. Ryan kept his position, but by a dangerously slim margin. After the meeting, Jennifer approached him in his office. "Ryan, you need to be careful. Victor won't back down." "What else can he do?" "He could try to influence smaller shareholders, plant more stories in the press, create situations that hurt the company. So, it's really war." "It's war. And you need to decide if you're willing to fight or if you'd rather negotiate." "What kind of negotiation?" "Keep your position but roll back some of the more controversial changes. And if I don't want to roll back, then prepare for a long, exhausting battle." That night, Ryan told Ashley everything. "They're using our relationship against you," she said, clearly upset. "They're trying to." "Ryan, this is exactly what I feared, that our relationship would hurt your life." "It's not hurting, it's just revealing who my real allies are." "But what if you lose the company because of me?" "It wouldn't be because of you. Would it be because of my values?" "Values you developed after you met me. Ashley, you're not responsible for the consequences of helping me become a better person." "But I feel responsible." "You shouldn't. The choice is mine." "What if I stepped away for a while, until things calm down?" "No, that's exactly what Victor wants. For him to control my personal life through professional pressure." "But Ryan..." "Ashley, if we give in now, we're admitting our relationship is something to be ashamed of. And I'm not ashamed of you." "I know, but maybe it's pragmatic." "Pragmatic would be going back to the empty person I was before. I don't want to be pragmatic if it means giving up who I've become." The conversation strengthened Ryan's resolve, but planted deep doubts in Ashley's mind. Was it fair for him to risk everything his father built because of her? The following days brought an escalation in the corporate war. Victor Reynolds orchestrated a series of attacks aimed at destabilizing both the company and Ryan's personal life. First, he leaked confidential information to competitors, causing the loss of 2 major contracts. Then he spread rumors about financial troubles within the company, leading to a 15% drop in stock value. Finally, he hired journalists to dig into Ashley's personal life, searching for anything that could be used to discredit Ryan. That's when things took a truly dangerous turn. On Thursday evening, Ashley was walking home from work when a man who identified himself as a journalist approached her. "Miss Johnson, may I ask a few questions about your relationship with Ryan Thompson?" "I have no comment." "We're investigating the influence you may have on major corporate decisions." "I have no influence." "Are you sure?" "Because we have information that Mr. Thompson drastically changed his behavior after meeting you." "That's none of your business." "It may be of public interest, considering his decisions affect thousands of employees and investors." Ashley tried to walk away, but the journalist followed. "Miss Johnson, were you aware that some of Mr. Thompson's recent decisions cost the company millions of dollars?" "I know nothing about his company." "Don't you feel responsible for influencing a CEO in a direction that could harm thousands of people?" The question hit Ashley like a punch to the gut. Was it true her influence was hurting Ryan's company? "I don't influence anyone." "But you admit he changed after meeting you." "Anyone changes when they fall in love." "So you admit there's a romantic relationship." Ashley realized she'd walked into a trap. The journalist was recording the conversation, and her words would be taken out of context. "This conversation is over. Just one more question. Don't you feel responsible for jeopardizing a company that employs over 5,000 people? Ashley ran home without answering, but the journalist's words haunted her all night. The next day, a devastating article was published in the city's top business paper. Thomson Technologies CEO makes million-dollar decisions under influence of janitor girlfriend. Though technically factual, the article painted a picture of an irrational businessman controlled by a manipulative woman, using him for personal gain. It cited sources close to the company, claiming Ryan had lost focus on business since the Puello relationship began, and suggested Ashley might be leveraging her influence for personal advantage. When Ryan read the article, he felt a rage he hadn't experienced in years. "Jennifer, I want our lawyers to sue that newspaper for defamation." "Ryan, technically they didn't lie about anything. They just presented the facts in a biased way. So what can I do?" "Very little legally, but I can suggest a communication strategy to minimize the damage." "What strategy?" "An exclusive interview where you explain your motivations and make it clear that the company changes are your decisions, not outside influence." "What about Ashley?" "It would be better if she stayed out of the spotlight for now." Jennifer's suggestion made strategic sense, but Ryan knew it would mean leaving Ashley alone to face the tsunami of criticism that would follow. When he arrived at Ashley's house that night, he found her visibly shaken. "Did you see the article?" "I did." "Ryan, I can't do this anymore." "Do what?" "Keep being the cause of all your problems. You're not the cause of anything." "No, then why did everything start going wrong after we started dating?" "Because I started questioning things I'd never questioned before. That's good, not bad. But it's costing you your company. Nothing definitive yet." "Ryan, I need to tell you something." "What?" "The reporter who approached me yesterday asked a question I can't get out of my head." "What question?" "If I don't feel responsible for putting a company that employs 5,000 people at risk." "And what did you say?" "Nothing. But I kept thinking, what if he's right?" "Ashley, you're not putting anything at risk." "Aren't I? You said yourself your decisions changed after you met me." "They changed for the better." "Better according to who? You? What about the 5,000 employees who could lose their jobs if the company fails?" "The company isn't failing. Not yet. But it could if this war continues." Ryan realized Ashley was being consumed by guilt, exactly as Victor Reynolds intended. "Ashley, don't let them make you feel guilty for helping me become a better person." "But what if the better person you've become isn't the best person to lead a big company?" The question caught Ryan off guard. Could his new values really make him less effective as CEO? "Do you think so?" "I don't know. I don't understand business. But I know you're suffering because of changes you made after meeting me. And you think I should go back to who I was before. I think you should do what's best for the company and the 5,000 families who depend on it. Even if it means giving up on you. Even if it means giving up on me." Ashley's words cut deep into Ryan's heart. She was willing to sacrifice her happiness for people she didn't even know. "Ashley, you can't do this." "I can and I will. If our relationship is hurting so many people, then it shouldn't exist." "That's exactly what our enemies want you to think." "Maybe they're right." "They're not, and I'll prove it to you." "How?" "By saving the company without abandoning my values and without abandoning you." "What if you can't?" "I will." But even as he said these words, Ryan wasn't sure how he'd keep this promise. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now continuing. The following days were the hardest in Ryan's professional life. Victor Reynolds intensified his attacks, gaining support from 2 more board members and orchestrating a media campaign that painted Ryan as an unstable, irresponsible CEO. The final straw came when 2 major clients cancelled contracts, citing concerns about the company's leadership stability. Jennifer called an emergency meeting. "Ryan, the situation is unsustainable. We lost 15 million in contracts this week. What do you suggest?" "That you make a choice. Either return to your previous leadership style or resign as president." "What if I choose a third option?" "What third option?" "Buying out the shares of the investors pressuring me." With what money? It would take an investment of nearly 200 million. I have that money. You do? From where? By selling my mansion, my cars, my personal investments, liquidating everything non-essential. Ryan, this is madness. You'd be left with nothing. I'd have the company and the freedom to run it according to my values. And if the company doesn't recover, you'd lose everything. Then at least I'd lose trying to do the right thing. Jennifer studied Ryan's face, searching for signs he wasn't serious. You'd really do this? I would. Why? Because I've realized I'd rather risk everything for something I believe in than keep everything while doing things I don't. And Ashley, does she know about this plan? No, and I don't want her to until I'm sure it'll work. Why? Because if she finds out I'm risking everything, she'll insist on ending our relationship to protect me. Jennifer understood the depth of Ryan's dilemma. He was willing to lose his fortune to keep both the company and his relationship, yet couldn't rely on support from the most important person in his life. Ryan, can I give you advice as a friend, not a partner? Of course. Talk to Ashley. She deserves to know the truth about what you're planning. What if she tries to talk me out of it? Then you'll have to decide whether to respect her opinion or ignore it. But what if she breaks up with me over this? Then you'll find out if your relationship is strong enough to survive real crises. The conversation with Jennifer planted seeds of doubt in Ryan's mind. Would it be fair to make such a drastic decision without consulting Ashley? Or would it be fair to put her in a position to choose between her own well-being and his happiness? That night, Ryan made a decision that would change everything. He called Ashley and arranged an urgent meeting. Ashley, I need to tell you something important. What? I found a way to solve our problems without giving up you or my values. How? I'm buying out the shares of the investors pressuring me. That way, I'll have full control of the company. With what money? By selling everything I own. House, cars, personal investments. Ashley looked at Ryan with a mix of admiration and horror. Are you serious? Dead serious. Ryan, this is insane. You'd be left with nothing. I'd have the company and you. That's not nothing. And if the company doesn't recover after all this scandal, then we'd rebuild from scratch. We'd rebuild? Ryan, I can't let you bet your entire life on me. I'm not betting on you. I'm betting on us. And if us doesn't work out, it will. How can you be so sure? Because our relationship has already survived tougher tests than most couples face in a lifetime. Ashley stood up and began pacing the room, visibly agitated. Ryan, you don't understand. If you lose everything because of me, how could I live with that guilt? Wouldn't you lose anything for me? It's not the same. I have nothing to lose. Yes, you do. Your dignity, your independence, your self-image. But I don't have a company employing 5,000 people. Ashley, can I ask you something? Of course. If our roles were reversed, if you were rich and I were poor, would you risk your fortune to stay with me? Ashley hesitated before answering. Probably. Then why is it different when I'm the one doing it? Because you have so much more to lose, or so much more to gain. Ryan, I can't let you do this. How are you going to stop me? By ending our relationship. Ashley's words hit like a bomb between them. You'd break up with me to protect me? If I had to. Even if it destroyed your own happiness. Even then. Ryan felt a mix of admiration and despair. The woman he loved was willing to sacrifice her own happiness to protect him. But that protection would cost him exactly what he valued most. Ashley, if you break up with me, I'll still fight for my values no matter what. The only difference is I'll do it alone. At least you won't lose everything. I'll lose the most important thing. There are other women, Ryan, not like you. Ashley felt tears forming in her eyes, but forced herself to stay firm. Ryan, our decision is made. It's better we end things before you do something irreversible. Ashley, you can't do this. I can and I will. It's best for both of us. It's the worst for both of us. Then we'll have to learn to live with it. Ryan realized Ashley had made up her mind, and that pushing further would only hurt her more. Fine, if that's what you want, it's not what I want. It's what needs to be done. Then it's over. It's over. Ryan left Ashley's house with a shattered heart, but determined to move forward with his plans. If he was going to lose the woman he loved, at least he'd ensure his changes in values weren't wasted. Over the next 3 days, he began liquidating his personal assets. He put the mansion up for sale, negotiated his luxury German cars, and transferred personal investments. Jennifer watched the whole process with growing concern. Ryan, there's still time to turn back. I don't want to turn back, even after breaking up with Ashley? Especially after breaking up with Ashley, now I'm sure I'm doing this for the right reasons. What reasons? Because I believe it's the right thing to do, not because of outside influence, not because of emotional pressure, because of my own conviction. What if you're wrong? Then at least I'll be wrong while staying true to myself. Ryan's determination even impressed Jennifer, who began actively supporting his plans. All right, if this is what you want, let's do it right. I need a full list of the investors we want to buy out. Victor Reynolds was the first to receive a buyout offer for his shares. The proposal was generous, 20% above market value, but came with a condition: immediate sale and renunciation of any future stake in the company. Victor initially rejected the offer, thinking it was a bluff. But when Ryan showed proof he had the necessary funds, the investor realized his destabilization strategy had failed. "Where did you get so much money?" Victor asked during a tense meeting. "I sold my personal assets." "All of them?" "Pretty much." "Why?" "Because I realized I'd rather have control of the company and live simply than be held hostage by greedy investors." "You're crazy." "Maybe, but I'm crazy with $2 billion in assets and full control of the company." Victor knew he'd been outplayed. Ryan hadn't just called his bluff, he'd gone all in on himself. What if the company never recovers from the scandal? Then that'll be my problem, not yours. You really think you can run a tech company with a social worker's mindset? I'll find out. The question is, do you accept my offer, or would you rather be forced to sell for less when I gain absolute majority? Victor had no choice. He accepted the offer and sold his shares, completely withdrawing from the company. With Victor out of the way, the other dissenting investors quickly accepted similar offers. Within 2 weeks, Ryan had consolidated absolute control of Thompson Technologies. The cost was exactly what he had predicted. His personal fortune had practically vanished. He kept only a modest apartment, a basic car, and enough to live simply for the next few years. But he had something he valued more: total freedom to run the company according to his principles. His first decision was to dramatically expand the scholarship program for outsourced employees. The second was to implement social responsibility, policies that prioritized worker well-being over maximum profits. The third was to personally visit Ashley's home. It was a Saturday afternoon when Ryan rang the doorbell of the modest house in Queens. Barbara opened the door and was surprised to see him. "Ryan, what a surprise! Come in, come in." "Thank you, Mrs. Johnson. Is Ashley here?" "She is, but didn't you two break up?" "We did, but I need to talk to her." "Ashley?" Barbara called out. "Ryan is here." Ashley appeared in the living room, visibly nervous. She was thinner, with dark circles under her eyes that hinted at sleepless nights. "Ryan, what are you doing here?" "I came to tell you I did what I planned." "What do you mean?" "I bought out the investors' shares. Now I have full control of the company." And I sold everything I had to get the money." Ashley sank heavily into a chair. "You really did that?" "I did. Even after we broke up." "Especially after we broke up, because now I know I did it for the right reasons." "What reasons?" "Because I believe it's the right thing. Because I want to use my position to help people like you, like Ruth, like all the workers I've met." "Ryan, Ashley, I didn't come here to try to fix our relationship. I came to thank you." "Thank me for what?" "For helping me discover who I really am. For showing me there's a world beyond empty luxury. For teaching me the value of honest work and genuine relationships." "I didn't do any of that." "You did. Just by existing, by being who you are." Ashley felt tears welling in her eyes. "And now what will you do?" "I'll run my company the way I believe is right. I'll live in a modest apartment, drive a basic car, live simply." "And be happy?" "I'll try. It'd be easier with you by my side, but I understand why you made the choice you did. Ryan, you don't have to say anything. I just wanted you to know I don't regret a thing. Every penny I lost, every hardship I faced, it was worth it. Why? Because I became a better person, and a better person is infinitely more valuable than a bigger bank account. Barbara, who had been listening from the kitchen, stepped closer. Ryan, can I ask you something? Of course, Mrs. Johnson. Are you happy with your decisions? I'm at peace with them. Happiness. I'm still working on that. And what's missing for you to be completely happy? Ryan looked at Ashley before answering. The person I love, understanding that true love means facing hardships together, not walking away to protect the other. Ryan's words struck Ashley like lightning. Are you saying I ran away? I'm saying you tried to protect me in a way that ended up depriving me of the support I needed most. I was trying to do the right thing. I know, but sometimes what's right for us individually isn't what's right for us as a couple. Ashley fell silent for a moment, processing Ryan's words. What if I had stayed? What if you'd lost everything anyway? Then we would have lost together and rebuilt together. And now? Is it too late? Ryan felt his heart race, but forced himself to be cautious. That depends on what you want. Ashley, I want you, I always have, but I'm scared. Scared of what? That you'll regret it. That one day you'll look at your simple life and miss the luxury you had. Ashley, can I promise you something? What? These past few months, the happiest moments of my life have been eating at this simple table, talking with you and your mother, walking through the streets of your neighborhood. Really? Really? Because they were real moments with real people, based on real feelings. And you could be happy living like this forever? I could be happy living any kind of life as long as it's with you. Barbara, who had been watching the conversation with a heavy heart, decided to step in. My dear, can I give my opinion? Of course, Mom. This man has proven his love in every possible way. He gave up a fortune for you, changed his whole life, for you. If that's not true love, I don't know what is. But Mom, what if? No what ifs, Ashley. In life, we can choose between security and happiness. We rarely get both. This man is offering happiness. Don't throw that away out of fear. Her mother's words broke through Ashley's last resistance. Ryan, can you forgive me for breaking up with you? There's nothing to forgive. You were trying to protect me, and you'll take me back? Ashley, there's nothing I want more in this world. Even knowing our life will be simple, that we won't have luxury or glamour. Especially knowing that. Ashley stood and walked to Ryan. So we're a couple again? We're a couple again. They kissed with the intensity of two people who had nearly lost the love of their lives to pride and fear. Barbara watched with tears in her eyes, overjoyed to see her daughter find happiness again. But life still had a few more surprises in store. 2 weeks later, as Ryan was finishing his move to his modest apartment, he got an unexpected call from Jennifer. Ryan, you need to come to the office right away. What happened? Something you need to see in person. Jennifer, I'm busy with the move. Ryan, it's about the company. It's really important. Puzzled, Ryan went to Thompson Technologies. In Jennifer's office, he found a stack of contracts and documents spread across the table. What's all this? Business proposals, 15 of them. From who? Companies that want to partner with us specifically because of our new social policies. What do you mean? Ryan, your decision to prioritize social responsibility didn't go unnoticed. Many companies want to associate with our new image. What kind of partnerships? Social tech projects, sustainability programs, digital inclusion, initiatives, contracts totaling nearly $100 million. Ryan stared at the papers in disbelief. Are you saying our new approach is bringing in more business? Much more. Turns out there's a huge market for companies that genuinely care about social responsibility. And I never knew. Because you were focused on the traditional market. But there's a growing movement of businesses that only want ethical partners. Jennifer, this changes everything. It really does. The company won't just recover. It could become more profitable than ever. The news was staggering, but Ryan felt deep satisfaction. His moral convictions weren't just right. They were financially smart. There's one more thing, Jennifer said. What? Victor Reynolds is trying to backtrack on selling his shares. Can he do that? Legally, no, but he's offering double. What you paid. And you think we should accept? Absolutely not. Now that we see the company's real potential, it would be crazy to sell it back to him. Ryan smiled. The irony of the situation wasn't lost on him. The man who had tried to destroy him was now begging to be part of the success he was creating. Tell Victor we're not interested. I already did. He wasn't happy. That's his problem. That evening, Ryan went to Ashley's house to share the good news. Ashley, I have something to tell you. What? The company is doing better than ever. The changes I made are bringing in new business. That's wonderful. It means we can have a more comfortable life than we ever imagined. Ryan, that doesn't change anything for me. I'd be with you even if we had to live in a tiny studio. I know. That's why I love you. But I'm glad your convictions turned out to be right. Ashley, can I ask you something? Of course. Do you still want to study education? Of course I do. Why? Because I want to pay for your degree. Ryan, it's not a favor or charity. It's an investment. I want my future wife to be the most qualified person she can be. The word wife made Ashley's heart race. Future wife? If you want. Ryan, are you proposing to me? I'm asking if you consider the possibility. I would, even knowing our life will be very different from what you imagined for yourself. Ryan, these past few months I've realized the life I imagined for myself was too small compared to the life we can have together. How so? I dreamed of being a public school teacher, owning a home, maybe a used car, simple dreams of a simple girl. And now I dream of being a teacher, but also of helping you with the company's social projects. I dream of using our position to really change the lives of people like my mom, like Ruth, like all the workers we've met. You'd do that? I'd love to. If I'm marrying a social entrepreneur, I want to be more than just decoration. I want to be a true partner. Ashley's answer moved Ryan deeply. She wasn't just accepting their new life. She wanted to actively share in his goals. Ashley, are you sure you want to marry me? Absolutely. Even knowing our life will always focus on social work, not personal luxury, especially because of that. Then, Ashley Johnson, will you marry me? Ryan Thompson, I will marry you. They kissed as Barbara cried with joy in the kitchen, pretending she hadn't been listening. 6 months later, Ashley graduated with a degree in education, on a full scholarship to a private university, and worked as the social projects coordinator at Thompson Technologies. The wedding was simple, held at the neighborhood church where Ashley grew up, attended by family, close friends, and all the employees who wanted to come. Ruth, who had grown very close to the couple, was one of the bridesmaids. Mike, the young man who had helped Ryan in the warehouse, was the best man. Dorothy cried through the entire ceremony. The company thrived under its new philosophy. The social projects not only generated profit, but also built a reputation that attracted top talent and the most desirable clients. Ryan and Ashley lived in a comfortable but modest apartment, drove reliable but basic cars, and were genuinely happy with their unpretentious life. 2 years after the wedding, they received an unexpected visit. Victor Reynolds showed up at the company's office, asking for a meeting. Ryan, I'm here to admit I was wrong. Wrong about what? Everything. About you, about the company's direction, about what really creates value in the corporate world. What changed your mind? The results. You've proven it's possible to be ethical and profitable at the same time. And I want to make a proposal. What proposal? I want to invest in the company again, not to control it, but to learn from you. Ryan looked at Ashley, who was attending the meeting as his business partner. Victor, I'll be direct with you. We don't trust you. I understand, but could you at least consider it? Only if you accept 3 conditions. What are they? First, a minority stake with no veto power on strategic decisions. Agreed. Second, full commitment to our social responsibility policies. Agreed. Third, work personally for 3 months as a junior employee to understand our philosophy. In practice, Victor hesitated. The third condition was humiliating for someone in his position. "You're serious?" "Completely serious," said Ashley. "If you want to be part of our project, you need to understand that everyone here starts from the bottom. Even me. Especially you." Victor thought for a moment before answering. "I accept all three conditions." "Then welcome back," said Ryan, "but this time as a minority partner in a company that prioritizes people over profits." 5 years after, Ashley and Ryan first met on Magnolia Avenue. Thomson Technologies had become Brazil's most respected tech company for its social responsibility. Ashley ran an educational foundation offering scholarships for children of low-income workers. Ryan remained the company's president, but with a leadership style focused on employee well-being. They had 2 young daughters who attended public school by their parents' choice and were raised with values of simplicity and social responsibility. The mansion on the Upper East Side had been turned into a vocational training center for underprivileged youth. The garage that once housed imported luxury cars now held computers where teenagers learned coding. On a Thursday afternoon, exactly 5 years after their first meeting, Ashley drove down Magnolia Avenue in her modest car. She stopped in front of what used to be Ryan's mansion, now the Barbara Johnson Digital Training Center, named in honor of her mother, who had become a volunteer for the project. She found Ryan in the main room, teaching basic programming to a group of teens from the outskirts. "How was class?" she asked when the students left. "Productive. I think 3 of them have real talent for coding. Will they get scholarships?" "Of course, and later, paid internships at the company." "Do you remember when we first met here?" "How could I forget? You were collecting trash and I was wasting my life. And now? Now you're educating children, and I'm trying to give back to society what I received. We're happy, aren't we? We're as happy as we could possibly be. Even without luxury, especially without luxury. We've learned real happiness comes from purpose, not possessions." "Ryan?" "Yes?" "Thank you." "For what?" "For insisting. For not giving up when I tried to break up with you. Thank you for saving me from an empty life." They embraced in the room that once held Ryan's lavish office, now transformed into a space of hope and opportunity for young people who, like Ashley years ago, dreamed of a better future. Outside, a garbage truck passed by. The new sanitation worker was a 20-year-old woman who studied at night and worked mornings to support her family. As she passed the training center, Ryan waved from the window and called out, "Great job. If you need anything, just let us know." The young woman smiled, surprised by the unexpected kindness from a stranger. Ashley watched the scene and smiled. The cycle continued, but now they were on the side of those offering opportunities, not just receiving them. "Ready to go home?" asked Ryan. "Ready." They walked out of the center arm in arm, heading to their modest car parked on the street. It was the same route Ashley used to take by bus years ago, but now with a completely different perspective on life. In their simple yet cozy home, their 2 young daughters waited for them with Barbara, who had moved in after retiring. "How was work today?" asked the older daughter, who was 4. "Good," replied Ashley. "We helped some people learn new things." "And you, how was school?" "We learned about recycling," said the younger girl, who was 3. "How important? And what will you do with what you learned?" "We'll teach other kids," they answered in unison. Ryan smiled, seeing that their daughters already showed the same spirit of helping others that he and Ashley had developed. During their simple but joyful dinner, the family talked about plans to expand the training center, the public school children Ashley would visit the following week, and the new social projects their company would implement. These were conversations about dreams, but collective dreams, not individual ones. Dreams of making a difference in others' lives, not of accumulating personal wealth. After the children went to bed, Ryan and Ashley stepped out for their traditional evening walk through the modest streets of their neighborhood. "Ryan, sometimes I wonder what our life would have been like if you hadn't insisted on getting to know me. I'd probably still be in an empty mansion surrounded by fake people pretending to be happy. And I'd still be picking through trash, dreaming of a better life, but too afraid to fight for it." Do you think you would have managed to study even without my help? Eventually, yes. But it would have taken much longer and been much harder. And do you think I would have changed without your influence? I don't know. Maybe. But it might have taken a lifetime. Then it's good we met when we did. It was perfect. They walked in silence for a few minutes, observing the modest homes where hard-working families lived, just like the one Ashley had grown up in. Ashley? Yes? Are you happy? Truly happy? Ryan, I'm happier than I ever dreamed possible. Even with all the difficulties we've faced, especially because of them. They made us stronger, more united, more certain of our values. And if you could go back and change anything, I wouldn't change a thing. Every mistake, every argument, every hard moment brought us here. Even the time we broke up, especially then. That's when I learned real love isn't about overprotecting. It's about facing challenges together. And that's when I learned real change takes the courage to risk everything. We make a good team, don't we? The best team possible. When they returned home, they found Barbara watching a TV show in the living room. How was the walk? Nice, Mom. We talked about the past. And did you reach any conclusions? That every hardship was worth it, said Ryan. Good to hear. You know, I worried a lot at first. What did you worry about? Asked Ashley. The differences between you. I thought it would never work. What changed your mind? Seeing how hard you both worked to understand each other. Seeing how you both changed for the better. We changed. Of course you did. Ryan learned humility and purpose. Ashley learned confidence and healthy ambition. And now? Now you're the two most complete people I know. Barbara's words brought the couple deep satisfaction. The approval of the woman who knew Ashley best was confirmation they had made the right decisions. 10 years after their first meeting, Ashley and Ryan's story had become legend in New York City. Not for the romantic aspects, though they were considered an exemplary couple, but for the social impact of their initiatives. The Barbara Johnson Digital Training Center had graduated over 1,000 young people in technology, with 80% landing well-paying jobs in the field. The Ashley Johnson Educational Foundation offered scholarships for workers' children, maintaining a 90% acceptance rate into public universities. Thompson Technologies had become the largest employer of alumni from its own social programs, creating a virtuous cycle of opportunity. But the couple's greatest pride wasn't the impressive numbers. It was seeing people like Ruth, now a cleaning supervisor at Thompson Technologies herself, achieve a dignified life through work. It was watching young people like Mike, now a senior programmer at the company, buy their own homes and support their families. It was seeing children like their daughters grow up with social awareness and the determination to continue the work of transformation. On a Thursday morning, exactly 10 years after their first meeting, Ashley was driving down Magnolia Avenue when she spotted a familiar scene, a young cleaning worker collecting trash outside the training center. She pulled over and stepped out. "Good morning, how are you?" The young woman, about 20, looked up in surprise. "Good morning, ma'am. I'm Ashley, and you?" "Tiffany." "Tiffany, can I ask you something?" "Of course. Are you in school?" "Night classes, high school." "What interests you?" "Computers, but I can't afford technical courses." Ashley smiled. It was exactly the conversation she'd hoped for. "Tiffany, do you know about the training center here?" "I do. I heard they offer free classes." "They do. And scholarships for top students." "Really?" "Really. How about we visit together after your shift?" "You'd do that?" "I'd be happy to." Tiffany smiled with a hope Ashley recognized instantly, the same hope she'd felt when Ryan first invited her for coffee. "So, meet back here at 2?" "At 2. Ashley returned to her car, knowing she'd just begun a new story, one that would start as hers had, with a seemingly chance encounter that would change two lives forever. When she got home and told Ryan about Tiffany, he smiled with the satisfaction of seeing a plan unfold. Another life we can change. Another chance to give back what we've received. Ashley, do you realize what we're doing? What? Building a network of hope. Every person we help will help others. Who'll help others? And that's how we change the world, one person at a time. Exactly. That afternoon, Ashley introduced Tiffany to the training center. The young woman enrolled in the basic programming course and 3 months later was among the top students in her class. 6 months later, Tiffany landed a paid internship for Thompson Technologies. A year later, she was hired as a junior programmer. 2 years later, she was leading a digital inclusion project in public schools. The cycle continued, growing wider and stronger. 15 years after their first meeting, Ashley and Ryan stood on the porch of their modest home, watching their 3 daughters, a third had arrived 5 years earlier, play in the yard. Ryan, remember when we thought our differences were insurmountable? I do, feels like a lifetime ago. Turns out those differences made us stronger. How so? You brought me ambition and vision for the future. I brought you humility and a connection to reality. And together we created something neither of us could have done alone. A happy family and a social legacy. Ashley, can I ask you something I've always wanted to ask? Of course. Did you ever regret accepting my invitation for coffee? Never, not for a second, even in the hardest moments? Especially in the hardest moments, because that's when I discovered what we're capable of together. And can I ask you something? Go ahead. Do you consider yourself different from the sanitation worker who collected trash 15 years ago? Ashley thought carefully before answering. I'm the same person with more opportunities. My values, my character, my essence haven't changed. And is that good? It's wonderful. It means you fell in love with the right person, not some idealized version you created in your head. And you? Did you fall for the right person? I fell for the man you always were inside, the one hidden under layers of unnecessary luxury. Then we were lucky. We were blessed. Their daughters ran onto the porch, interrupting the conversation. Mom, Dad, let's play helping people, said the oldest, now 15. How so? Asked Ryan. Let's pretend we're adults and have a company that helps poor kids. Ashley and Ryan exchanged a smile. Their daughters had naturally absorbed the values they tried to instill. What kind of help would you give? Asked Ashley. Food, school, computers, said the middle one, 10 years old. And love, added the youngest, 5. And love, the sisters agreed. Then let's play, said Ryan, rising from his chair. The family spent the afternoon inventing imaginary social projects that perfectly reflected their real dreams. When night fell and the children went to bed, Ashley and Ryan returned to the porch. Our daughters will carry on our work one day, said Ashley, if they want to. But even if they choose different paths, they'll have solid values to guide them. Ryan, can I tell you a secret? Of course. Sometimes I'm afraid this is all a dream, that I'll wake up and still be picking up trash on a cold morning. What if it were? If you discovered the last 15 years were a dream? I'd wake up happy to have dreamed something so beautiful. But it's not a dream, Ashley. It's our reality. A reality we built together with hard work and love. And one we'll keep building for the next 50 years. 50 years? At least we still have so much work to do. What kind of work? To keep proving that happiness doesn't require luxury, that success doesn't mean hurting others, that true love can bridge social differences. And do you think we'll succeed? Ryan, we already have, now we just keep going. They stayed on the porch late, planning new projects, dreaming of new ways to help people, imagining a world where more chose purpose over profit. When they finally went inside to sleep, Ashley paused before the bedroom mirror. Ryan, look at us. What do you see? I see a middle-aged couple in simple clothes, a simple home, a simple life. Does that bother you? It makes me incredibly proud. Why? Because we got here by choice, not necessity. Because our simplicity is conscious, not forced. And because our happiness is real, not pretend. Exactly. They lay down in their simple but comfortable bed, in their simple but cozy room, in their simple but love-filled home. Ashley? Yes? Thank you. For what? For saving me from a meaningless life. Thank you for showing me that impossible dreams can come true. I love you. I love you too. They fell asleep in each other's arms, knowing the next day would bring another day of meaningful work, another day of true living, another day of genuine love. Outside, the city slept. On the modest streets of their neighborhood, other hard-working families rested for another day of honest effort. In the early hours, garbage trucks would pass by, driven by people like Ashley once was, dignified workers striving for a better life. Some might be lucky enough to find someone who saw their worth beyond their job. Others would create their own opportunities through determination and education. But all would have the chance to discover that true wealth lies not in what we own, but in what we do with our lives. And in the mornings that followed, as Ashley drove her modest car to work, she would always wave to the sanitation workers, remembering who she had been and taking pride in who she'd become. Because her story had proven something fundamental. That true love knows no social boundaries, that genuine happiness doesn't depend on material wealth, and that differences between people can be bridges, not walls. Years later, when their daughters had children of their own, they would tell the story of how their grandmother, a sanitation worker, fell in love with their grandfather, the businessman, and how together they discovered that true success in life is measured not by what you have, but by the good you do. And with each new generation, the lesson would be passed down, that it's better to truly love a simple person than to fake happiness with someone shallow, that it's better to work with purpose than just for money, and that it's better to build a legacy of kindness than to accumulate empty riches. Ashley and Ryan's story became proof that when two people truly love each other and share genuine values, no social difference is too great to overcome, no obstacle too hard to conquer, and no dream too distant to achieve. And so, in a city where millions pass by each other every day without truly seeing one another, two souls found in each other exactly what they needed to feel complete: love, purpose, and hope. The end. Now tell us what you thought of Ashley and Ryan's story. Do you believe true love can overcome social differences? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for joining us on this heartfelt journey. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss other inspiring stories about how love and determination can transform lives. Nearby bus. Survived the first day. Barely. Want to talk about it? It's so much harder than any job I've ever had. Physically and emotionally. Emotionally how? Seeing how people are treated, how some supervisors talk to the workers, the hopelessness in some of my co-workers' eyes. Welcome to the real world. How have you handled this for so long? Because I have no choice, and because I know it's temporary. Temporary. One day I'll get to study and find a better job. I have to believe that. Ashley's unshakable hope, even in the face of hardship, only deepened Ryan's admiration for her. That night, Ryan took a hot shower in his mansion for the first time since the experiment began. The contrast between his real life and the one he was experiencing had never felt so stark. He looked at his bruised hands and thought about the workers who did this every day of their lives, without the option of returning to a comfortable home at the end of the week. On Thursday, the second day of work was even more challenging. Ryan woke up with pain all over his body, but forced himself to get up and arrive at the store on time. Bill, the supervisor, noticed he had returned despite the obvious physical strain from the previous day. Thought you wouldn't come back. Why? Most rich kids who show up here quit on the first day. I'm not a rich kid. We'll see. Throughout the day, Ryan was tested with increasingly difficult tasks, organizing heavy products on high shelves, cleaning the dirty storage room, carrying multiple boxes at once. With each challenge, he pushed himself to complete the task without complaining, even when his inexperience made everything take longer and harder. Mike and the other co-workers began respecting him for his persistence. "Man, you're stubborn," Mike said during lunch break. "Why? Everyone expected you to quit. But here you are killing yourself to get the job done. That's what you all do every day." "Yeah, but we're used to it. You clearly aren't." "I'm learning." "For what? You don't plan to stay here forever, do you?" Mike's question made Ryan reflect on his true goals with this experience. "I don't know. Depends on a few things." In the afternoon, an incident nearly ended Ryan's experiment prematurely. While moving a heavy shelf, it tipped and almost fell on a customer passing by. Bill appeared immediately, furious. "Ryan, watch it! You almost hurt a customer." "Sorry. The shelf wasn't balanced right." "I don't care. If it happens again, you're fired." The threat was real, and Ryan realized he was constantly one mistake away from losing the job, a psychological pressure he hadn't felt in years. When Ashley came to visit him during the break, she found him visibly shaken. "What happened?" "I almost caused an accident. My supervisor said if it happens again, I'm fired. Welcome to the reality of manual labor. Small mistake, big consequences. How do you all handle this constant pressure?" "By being very, very careful and having a lot of luck." The conversation was interrupted by Bill, who appeared to demand Ryan's return to work. "Chat later. Now it's work time." Ryan quickly said goodbye to Ashley and went back to the storage room, more aware than ever that he was in a situation where he had no control over his professional fate. On Friday, the third day of work, a new twist tested Ryan's limits. An important client of the store, a well-known businessman in the city, came in for a large purchase and was personally escorted by the general manager. When passing through the storage area, the businessman stopped abruptly upon seeing Ryan carrying boxes. "Ryan Thompson, is that really you?" Ryan felt his blood run cold. He had been recognized by someone from his social circle. "Hey, George, what the hell are you doing here?" Everyone in the storage room stopped to watch the unusual scene. Bill approached, clearly confused. "You two know each other?" asked the general manager. "We do. Ryan owns Thompson Technologies, one of the biggest tech companies in the country," George explained, still in disbelief. The silence that followed was deafening. All the employees stared at Ryan with expressions mixing shock, confusion, and betrayal. "Is that true?" Bill asked. Ryan stood at a crossroads. He could deny it and keep pretending, or admit the truth, and face the consequences. "It's true," he finally said. "Then what are you doing working here?" Mike asked, visibly hurt. "It's a long story." "What kind of story makes a millionaire pretend to be a stock clerk?" asked Bill, now visibly irritated. Ryan realized he had completely lost the trust of his co-workers. To them, he was just a rich man playing poor, not understanding the real hardships they faced. "I can explain." "You don't need to explain." "Anything," said Bill. "Grab your things and leave." "Bill, I can keep working." "No, you can't. I don't want people pretending to be something they're not around here." Ryan was forced to leave the store under the suspicious and hurt gazes of people he had begun to consider friends. Outside, he called Ashley. "Ashley, I need to see you urgently." "What happened?" "I've been found out. Someone recognized me at work." "Now what?" "Now I need to tell you that this hasn't changed how I feel." "Ryan, let's meet at the square from last night. I need to process this." The meeting that night was tense from the start. Ashley arrived visibly upset by the news that Ryan had been exposed. "How do you feel now that you've been found out?" she asked as soon as they sat on the park bench. "Frustrated. I was just starting to really understand what your lives are like." "And disappointed you had to give up the game?" "It wasn't a game, Ashley. It was real to me." "How can I be sure?" "Because even though I've been exposed, I want to finish the remaining 4 days of this experience." "How?" "By finding another job, without using my real identity." The Soy-E proposal surprised Ashley. She had expected Ryan to use the discovery as an excuse to end the challenge. "Are you serious?" "Completely serious." "Why?" "Because I realized it's not just about proving something to you. It's about understanding a world I've always ignored." "And what have you understood so far?" "That the difference between us isn't just about money. It's about security, options, how society treats you. You're all walking a tightrope every day." "And that scares you?" "What scares me is that I never noticed it before." Ashley studied Ryan's face for a moment, searching for any sign of insincerity. "All right, we'll continue. But this time you'll use a fake name." "Deal. And if you're found out again, the experiment ends. No matter how many days are left." "Understood." On Saturday, Ryan took on the identity of Richard Davis and got a job with an outsourced cleaning company servicing a shopping mall. The work involved cleaning stores after hours, hauling heavy equipment and keeping common areas spotless. The supervisor, a man named Stanley, was known for his strictness and impatience with new hires. "Richard, you'll be working with Ruth's team. She'll show you the ropes. Ruth was a 60-year-old woman who had worked as a cleaner for over 30 years. She had the wisdom of someone who'd survived decades of physically demanding work. "First time doing this kind of job?" she asked as she handed him cleaning supplies. "First time." "Then listen carefully. Cleaning isn't just wiping things down. It's technique, speed, attention to detail. Clients don't care if you're tired or your back hurts." Throughout the day, Ruth taught Ryan how to clean windows without streaks, how to use chemicals without damaging surfaces, and how to work quickly without cutting corners. "Why are you so kind to me?" Ryan asked during a break. "Because everyone deserves a chance to learn, and because I can see you're really trying." "How do you know I'm trying?" "By your eyes. Some people just go through the motions. You work like you care." Ruth's words touched Ryan deeply. Even under a fake identity, his effort was being recognized. That afternoon, a tougher test awaited. One of the stores had a minor oil leak, and the team was called in for a special cleanup. The job was disgusting, requiring them to kneel on the floor for hours, scrubbing stubborn stains with strong-smelling chemicals. Ryan worked side by side with Ruth and other employees, never complaining about the smell, the uncomfortable position, or the repulsive nature of the task. When they finished at 9 in the evening, Stanley approached him. "Richard didn't expect you to last till the end." "Why not?" "Hard, dirty work. Most newbies quit in the first week." "I don't plan on quitting. We'll see." Ashley met Ryan at the bus stop after his first day at the cleaning company. He was visibly exhausted, his clothes reeking of chemicals. "How was it?" "Educational." "In what way?" "I learned that real physical labor is nothing like I imagined." "And how do you feel doing it?" "Strangely useful, like I'm contributing, in a way I never have before." The answer intrigued Ashley. It was the first time she'd heard Ryan express genuine satisfaction with manual work. "Useful how?" "When we finish cleaning a store, it's actually better, a concrete, tangible result. So different from the abstract deals I usually handle." "Do you prefer this kind of work?" "I don't know if I prefer it, but I understand its value in a way I never did before." During the bus ride home, Ashley watched Ryan discreetly. There was something different about him. A quiet thoughtfulness that hadn't been there when they first met. On Sunday, his day off, Ryan spent the morning at Ashley's house helping Barbara with small household repairs. "Ryan, you don't have to do this," Barbara said when she saw him fixing a leaky faucet that had been dripping for months. "I want to help. It's the least I can do after all your hospitality." "You're very different from the friends Ashley used to bring around." "How so?" "They always seemed uncomfortable, in a hurry to leave. You seem genuine." The word genuine echoed in Ryan's mind. It was exactly what he hoped Ashley would think of him. That afternoon, he and Ashley walked to a nearby park to talk about the remaining days of the experiment. "How are you feeling about all this?" she asked. "Confused." "Confused how?" "This week changed my perspective on a lot of things, about work, relationships, what really matters in life." "And what did you find matters?" "Genuine connections, work that means something, simplicity." "And your current life, your company, your mansion, your social world?" It started to feel empty. Ashley felt a pang of guilt. She hadn't meant to dismantle the life Ryan had built. "Ryan, I don't want you to change your life because of me." "Why not?" "Because it wouldn't be fair. Your life matters. It has value." "Does it? To whom?" "To you, to your family, to your employees." "Ashley, can I tell you something I've never told anyone?" "Of course. I feel alone in my current life, surrounded by people, but fundamentally alone." "Why?" "Because I never know if people care about me or my status and money." "And with me, you're sure?" "I am. You don't want anything I can offer materially." "How can you be so sure?" "Because you've rejected it all. The interest-free loan, the job at my company, even my help with your debt you turned into a formal loan." "And that appeals to you?" "It reassures me. Makes me feel like I can just be myself, not a walking bank account." Ryan's emotional honesty began to break down Ashley's last defenses. "Ryan, can I ask you a tough question?" "Of course." If I agreed to date you, how would you picture our life together? What do you mean? Where would we live? What kind of life would we have? How would we work through our differences? Ryan thought carefully before answering. Honestly, I don't know. I just know I want to be with you, and I'm willing to figure out the rest as we go. But have you thought about the practical challenges? Some, and I know there will be plenty. Like what? Your discomfort in my social world, my lack of familiarity with yours, the outside pressures we'll face. And you still want to try? I do. Ashley felt she was reaching the point of having to make a final decision about Ryan. He had passed the tests she'd set, showing sincerity and determination. But doubt still haunted her. Ryan, we still have 2 days left of this experiment. Let's finish it first, then we'll talk about us. Deal. On Monday, Ryan returned to work at the cleaning company with renewed energy. Ruth noticed his excitement right away. Something good happened over the weekend. Maybe. Woman-related. How'd you guess? Men only get that look when they're in love. Is it that obvious? To those with experience, yes. During the day, Ryan was assigned to clean the mall's administrative offices, a task requiring extra care and attention to detail. While cleaning a meeting room, he found scattered documents on the table. Unintentionally, he read parts mentioning planned mass layoffs in the cleaning department. His first instinct was to ignore it, but then he thought of Ruth, Stanley, and all the other co-workers who might lose their jobs. At lunch break, he sought out Ruth. Ruth, can I talk to you privately? Sure, what's up? I saw some papers in the offices, documents about layoffs in the cleaning department. Layoffs? Looks like they're outsourcing more services. A lot of people could lose their jobs. Ruth looked visibly worried. Are you sure about what you saw? I am. What should we do? I don't know, but I thought you should know. The news spread quickly among the staff, creating an atmosphere of anxiety and anger. Stanley called an impromptu meeting at the end of the shift. Everyone, I've heard rumors about layoffs. Officially, we have no information on this. But, is it a possibility? Ruth asked. There's always a possibility. We live in a competitive world. And what can we do to protect ourselves? Work hard. Be indispensable. The answer satisfied no one, and Ryan felt guilty for causing such collective worry. After the meeting, Ruth approached him. Ryan, thanks for telling me about the documents. Of course. Even if it's bad news, I'd rather know. Why? Because knowledge is power, even for those with little power. Ruth's words struck Ryan with their simple yet profound wisdom. That evening, during dinner at Ashley's house, he shared the incident. You did the right thing by telling them, Ashley said. You think so? Of course, they deserve to know what might happen to their jobs. But what if I'm causing unnecessary panic? Better unnecessary panic than a surprise layoff. Barbara, listening in, added her thoughts. Ryan, working folks have to look out for each other. If you can help, you should. The women's approval reassured Ryan about his decision. On Tuesday, the last day of the experiment, Ryan arrived at work with mixed feelings. On one hand, he was eager to finish the challenge and have a serious talk with Ashley about their future. On the other hand, he knew he would miss the simplicity and camaraderie he had found among the cleaning staff. The day went by normally until, in the middle of the afternoon, the mall's administrative director himself appeared in the service corridors. Where's Stanley? He asked Ruth. In the storage room, sir. And who's the new employee? Bill, replied Ruth, pointing to Ryan. The director looked at Ryan with a strange expression. Can we talk in private? Ryan felt his stomach tighten. Had he been recognized again? In Stanley's office, the director got straight to the point. You look a lot like someone I know. Ryan Thompson from Thompson Technologies. I hear that all the time. Must be a coincidence. Maybe, or maybe you're exactly him. Ryan realized denying it again would be pointless. It's me. What the hell are you doing working as a janitor? It's a long story. I've got time. Ryan shared an edited version of the truth, mentioning a personal bet about understanding the reality of workers. What kind of bet? An emotional one. Someone questioned whether I truly understood the hardships workers face. And do you? More than before. The director studied Ryan for a moment. You know you'll have to leave, right? I can't have the CEO of a major company working as a janitor here. I understand. But I want you to know I've heard positive feedback about your work. Stanley said you're one of the most dedicated employees he's ever had. Thank you. Does that mean anything to you? It means a lot. Ryan said goodbye to Ruth, Stanley, and the other co-workers, explaining that an opportunity had come up at another company. It was good working with you, Bill, said Ruth. I hope your new opportunity works out. Thank you for everything you taught me. I learned too. You reminded me there are still people willing to work hard without complaining. As he left, Ryan felt an unexpected sadness. In just a few days, he had formed genuine bonds with people he would likely never see again. Ashley was waiting for him at the meeting point.